31st, 2016 meeting of the Board of Adjustment is now called to order. In the interest of promoting the order and efficiencies of these hearings, persons who are disruptive to the hearing will be asked to leave the hearing room immediately. Meetings of the Board of Adjustment are open to the public for the duration of the meeting. The hearing room must be vacated at the conclusion of the meeting. Failure to comply may result in a charge of trespassing. Madam Deputy Controller, are there any corrections, additions, or deferrals on the agenda?
Good morning. For today's agenda, the board received a protest from Ms. Kim Trueheart for all items on the agenda. The board did review her protest, however, it will not be heard. The board received some written protests for pages 1 to 8, which is the public hearing on the proposed water and sewer rate increases. I will read the list that was received directly by the board. The list will be amended with other names of persons who do submit protests to other members of the board. The protests that have been received by the Board of Estimates are from Mary Barrett, Lori Baglioli, Lionel Brown, Charlene Cohen, Mary Crawford, Kate Dowling, Joan Foster, Mabel Gordon, Food and Water Watch by Mary Grant, Susan Hindy, Margaret Henn, Barbara Hill, Mark Jones, Cammie Murphy, The Tower Management Company, Inc. by James French, Danielle Turner, Kim Trueheart, Denise Wallace, Women's Housing Coalition by Beth Benner. There is a sign-up list in the back of the boardroom, so if you have not already done so, please take a moment and sign up if you wish to testify on that item. I have 2 corrections to be made to today's agenda. The first is on page 26, and it's from the Law Department Settlement Agreement. Under Action Requested, on line 2, the line begins with Settlement Agreement. Insert before Settlement Agreement Class Action. Delete the clause following that, which is with Bruce Goldfarb and Michael Gallagher settling parties. That clause is being deleted. After the word in, please add the following: connection with a. I will now read the majority of that sentence. The board is requested to approve and authorize execution of the class action settlement agreement in connection with a litigation alleging hazardous waste and environmental contamination at the site of the Horseshoe Casino site. And the sentence continues as it is otherwise. In addition, for pages 95 to 97, which is item 17C, contract number B50000452, there's a correction that pertains only to 17C on page 97. You'll see Kaiser Permanente Insurance Company, HMO administrative fee. At the bottom of that page, it currently reads, Imbu found vendor in compliance. Please change that to Imbu found vendor in non-compliance. I have the following abstentions to note. The Honorable Mayor Rawlings Blake will abstain on page 57 and on page 86. The Honorable President Young will abstain on page 86 and on page 109, number 9. In addition, the Honorable President Young will vote no on pages 72 to 73. The Honorable Comptroller Pratt, there are no abstentions for her today. The items that remain on the non-routine agenda are pages 1 to 8 and pages 9 to 10. Mr. President and members of the board, those are the protests, the corrections received, as well as the abstentions and the no vote that have been previously recorded. Thank you.
Thank you. I will direct the board members' attention to the memorandum from our office dated August the 29th, 2016, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any correction and additions that have been noted by the Deputy Controller. I will entertain a motion to approve all of the items contained on the routine agenda.
I make a motion to approve all the items on the routine agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carried. The routine agenda has been adopted. We'll now move on the non-routine agenda. The first item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 1 through 8. Department of Public Works, Department of Finance, public hearing on proposed water and sewage rate increases and miscellaneous fees increase on page 9 to 10. Department of Audits, audit report, and related audit digest. First, we'll begin with a presentation from the Department of Public Works. We will then hear from the Department of Audits. Then we'll hear from members of the public. Will the Department of Public Works representative please come forward? Okay.
Good morning, Council Chair President, Madam Mayor, Madam Controller, Mr. Ralph, and Mr. Chow.
State your name.
My name is Jay Price.
And Mr. Price, before you start, I'd like to recognize Councilman Branch and Councilman Kern who have joined us. Where are they? Okay, thank you. I don't see him. You can go ahead, Mr. Price.
I'm the acting head of the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Water and Wastewater. Our job includes serving the public's health and well-being by delivering the highest quality drinking water to more than 1.8 million customers in the Baltimore region and returning clean water safely to the environment. Reliably providing clean water and removing dirty water are two of the most critical responsibilities facing any city. When our water and wastewater underground systems and above-ground facilities were first built, they were well-planned and well-built. But every structure needs to be regularly maintained and periodically upgraded to perform well, particularly those that are in constant use. Delaying maintenance and replacement projects may help keep water bills artificially low, but will result in unplanned outages and high maintenance and operational costs. The city's water and wastewater systems are aging, and a lack of investment and capital spending in these aging systems has had its consequences. On slide 2, you can see the list of negative effects the city is experiencing today for not keeping up with the needed infrastructure investment in the recent past. We have had underground infrastructure fail on numerous occasions, with the most recent examples undermining roadways at Center and Mulberry Streets. These two repairs alone are costing an estimated $13 million and result in severe inconvenience to our customers, residents, commuters, and local businessmen. And as the years pass, the cost of making these types of emergency repairs gets more expensive. The city's infrastructure will continue to fail and continue to rack up huge costs if we fail to act now. But if we commit to an infrastructure replacement program that is proactive and not reactive, the city will be able to manage and reduce these costs over the long term. Slide number 3 highlights our recent investments. The current DPW Director, Mr. Chow, has led an initiative to reinvest in the city's water and wastewater infrastructure so that current and future generations may realize the benefits of having sound and well-functioning systems. I want to take a moment just to mention a few of our recent improvements. The city is completing the replacement of all residential and commercial water meters in Baltimore City and Baltimore County to send water usage data wirelessly for collection and uploading into the city's billing system. This upgrade provides greater reliability and accuracy in meter reading and billing, as well as enhanced customer service. The city is replacing its decades-old water and sewer information and billing system with a new, more flexible system. The bills produced from this new system will be easier to read, provide details of the charges that make up the bill, and will arrive monthly instead of quarterly. The water utility has increased its annual water main upgrade target from less than 5 miles of new mains each year to 15. This is important because most of the city's aging water pipes are more than 65 years old, and some have surpassed the 100-year mark. We cannot afford to ignore this condition of these pipes that have long passed their useful life. Water that is lost between the water filtration plant and customers is costly. Our prioritized and proactive infrastructure repair and replacement programs are beginning to decrease this lost water from leaks and breaks, but it needs to continue. For more than a decade, our capital improvement efforts have been driven by unfunded federal mandates, including improving our wastewater treatment plants, upgrading our sewers, and protecting our drinking water. These mandates, while very important, compete for limited capital dollars that are also needed to maintain our water and wastewater utilities. The city signed a consent decree in 2002 with the Environmental Protection Agency and the Maryland Department of the Environment to correct recurrent sewer overflows. the city had to pay for evaluating and rehabilitating the wastewater collection system to eliminate existing sanitary sewer overflows. This federally mandated consent decree must be funded at anticipated cost of more than $1.5 million.
Billion. You
What?
said, you said million.
Million.
Oh,
Billion, I'm sorry,
Billion.
$1 billion. Thank you.
Billion.
While the city does all it can to pursue grants and low-interest loans to help pay for these projects, the bulk of the cost rests with our customers. That is why the city and our regulators have negotiated an extension of original consent decree that would allow the city to complete construction of Phase 1 projects by the end of 2020 and Phase 2 projects by the end of 2030. By executing these projects that provide the most environmental benefits first and spreading the rest of the projects out over time, the financial impact on our customers will be less burdensome. The public notice and comment period for the modified consent decree has recently closed, and the comments received are currently under review. Mandates under the Clean Water Act and Safe Water Drinking Act have multiplied since these laws were passed more than 40 years ago. At present, the city is in the process of upgrading its 2 wastewater treatment plants to meet the Chesapeake Bay pollution diet at an anticipated cost of $1 billion. The city must also cover its 5 open finished water reservoirs, which is anticipated to cost $464 million. 2 have already been completed, 1 is under construction, and 2 will go to construction within months. We continue to seek financial help from state and federal sources to meet these mandates, but the vast majority of funding comes directly from our ratepayers. All of these projects are vital, but we must do even better. Compliance with federal and state mandates, as well as the needed upgrade to our aging water and sewer systems, will require the city to allocate revenues to fund multi-million-dollar capital projects. The Water Capital Improvement Plan over the next 6 years is estimated at $1.3 billion and includes water main rehabilitation and replacement, rehabilitation of the Vernon, Cromwell, Pikesville, Towson, and Ashburton pumping stations, improvements to the Montebello water treatment plant, and design and construction of a new water treatment plant in Fullerton. The wastewater capital improvement plan over the next 6 years is estimated at $701 million and includes regulatory-driven enhanced nutrient removal and headworks improvements at Back River. Additionally, we will continue to replace our aging sewer pipes so they don't continue to collapse and create health and safety problems. Now the question is, how do we fund all these capital improvements? The utility only started borrowing and issuing bonds relatively recently. That means we have yet to pay off our earlier revenue bonds and must use new funds to pay for these new capital improvement projects. It is also important to remember that the city charter mandates that water and wastewater utilities must maintain self-sustaining operations. So we receive no general fund money from city government, and we return no ratepayers' money to the city's general fund. On slide number 6, you will see our recommended water and sewer rate increases. In order to meet consent decree requirements and invest in our aging infrastructure, we have proposed a 3-year program of rate adjustments that calls for 9.9% per year for water services and 9.0% per year for sewer services. The combined impact of these water and wastewater rates is 9.4%. If you take a look at our projected annual capital expenditure schedule for water and wastewater over the next 30 years, you will notice that the heavy investment occurs in the first 10 years. This is due to consent decree requirements. Please keep in mind that DPW has negotiated for longer consent decree terms in order to spread these expenditures over 15 years to ease the financial burden on our customers. After these projects are completed, capital spending levels out. As I touched on earlier, DPW is implementing a new billing system that allows our customers to pay a budget-friendly monthly basis with an updated and fairer rate structure. The existing rate structure is based on the declining block rate per unit of water. That means large volume users pay less per unit of water than those users who use the least. The existing rate structure also contains a minimum billing charge. That means that customers pay for a predetermined minimum amount of water even if he or she uses less than an amount. We have listened to our customers. The proposed rate structure will apply the same rate per unit of water to all customers, eliminating the old declining block rate, and there will no longer be minimum billing. Under the proposed rate structure, customers will pay only for the water they use plus 2 fixed cost components which are already part of their existing bill. Let me state that again. They are already a built-in portion of the existing water and sewer bill. For transparency purposes, we have broke these charges out so our customers can easily identify them, and they are 1, an account management fee intended to recover the cost of billing and customer service. And number 2, an infrastructure charge which is intended to recover a portion of the capital cost for providing water and sewer services that benefit all customers. Given these changes, the city would be able to recover a portion of its fixed costs through the fixed component of the rate and be less dependent on water consumption. We are mindful of the impact of our requests, and there is never a good time to ask for our customers to pay more. And we know they face other expanding costs. But we believe that by changing our rate structure and converting our monthly billing, our customers who use the least water will see either a reduction or only a small increase in their water bill. Slides 9 through 11 demonstrate the impact on residential customers using the proposed rate increases with typical use patterns. Our analysis considered several years of customer bills, and analysis showed that residential customer usage patterns range from a low of 500 cubic feet per quarter to higher levels of 2,200 cubic feet per quarter. We also looked at billed usage near the current minimum billing allowance of 1,000 cubic feet per quarter. On slide number 9, you can see the current quarterly fee for customers using 500 cubic feet per quarter, along with 3 monthly fees under the proposed rate structure. The cost for these users will actually decrease beginning in October by $20.32 per quarter. In fiscal year 18, the sum of the 3 monthly bills will be $11.31 less than the current quarterly bill, and in fiscal year 19, the 3 monthly payments will add up to $1.44 less than their current quarterly bill. Slides 10 and 11 show examples of the proposed rate increases on customers with higher use patterns. We recognize that higher use customers will be paying more, in part due to the removal of the declining block rate. Under our proposal, everyone will pay the same rate per unit of water. All customers will have the ability to monitor and adjust their water usage based on hourly data if they so choose. We are providing tools for our customers to manage their bills. Today, city customers have the opportunity to qualify for assistance through DPW safety net provisions for senior citizens and low-income housing. The level of assistance provided under these programs has floated with rate increases to help protect our vulnerable customers. We are asking the board to increase the income eligibility threshold for senior citizen assistance program from $25,000 to $30,000 per year. In addition, we are asking to increase the low income assistance grant from $179 to $197 annually. Other cities have also realized the need to invest in their water infrastructure. Slide number 13 clearly shows that nearly all of water and sewer costs for typical consumers in the suburban Washington and surrounding counties are higher than Baltimore's proposed new rates. We still fare well in comparison to the total costs paid by many of our Central Maryland neighbors. Suburban Washington customers will still pay roughly twice as much as Baltimore City customers. In an age in which people are willing to pay well over $1 for a 20-ounce bottle of water, Baltimore City families get an entire day's supply of water available at the tap for around $1. Our service is not only convenient and high quality, it is also great value. Today, we have the opportunity to ensure the reliability of our water and sewer systems for the citizens of Baltimore. We have the opportunity to invest in a clean, healthy future, and we will never take a shortcut in providing safe water to all our customers. The city's water and sewer system was built over a period of decades, and it will take some time for us to revitalize it. We also realize this is a financially stressful time for some of our ratepayers. By locking in our rates for the next 3 years and providing a more fair rate structure, we will help our customers know what to expect while also accelerating the process of rebuilding our system. We respectfully urge the board to approve our plan in order to help Baltimore meet its most important municipal responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the Department of Audits.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the board. I'm Bob McCarty, City Auditor. I'm with Milt Walensky and Gail Adams of our staff. We have reviewed the methodology and procedures used to determine the proposed water and sewer water rate increases, including the proposed changes to the rate structure submitted by the Department of Public Works and the Department of Finance that covers fiscal years 2017, 18, and 19. The purpose of our review was to determine whether DPW's methodology and procedures used to determine the rate increases, including the proposed changes to the water and sewer rate structure, were reasonable and whether the applicable computations were accurate. In order to determine that the proposed increases were reasonable and accurate. The utilities developed a comprehensive financial planning model that projects revenues, expenditures, existing and proposed debt requirements, and capital expenditures. The proposed revenue requirements and proposed rate increases are based on expected operating expenses, capital improvement projects, sources of funds, and legal covenant requirements. The proposed water increases are 9.9% for water and 9% for sewer for each of the next 3 years. The utilities are replacing its water and sewer billing system, which includes enhancements to the existing rate structure. The proposed rate structure will include volumetric increases and 2 fixed components, an account management fee and an infrastructure charge. The same volumetric rates will apply to all customers. The account management fee is intended to recover the cost of billing, and the infrastructure charge will recover a portion of costs for investing in pipes, plants, and other assets that benefit all customers and will be charged according to its meter sizes. Both will be charged on a flat monthly fee. Due to the elimination of the quarterly minimum fees and other revisions to the fee structure, the impact of the proposed rate structure will vary by meter size and consumption level, for fiscal year 2017. For 2017, some customers will pay more and others will pay less than under the current fee structure. For example, the total water and sewer bill for a typical city household, which is defined as having a 5/8 inch meter and using 2,100 cubic feet per quarter of water, will increase by $7.59 per quarter, an increase of only 3.4%. The increase for fiscal years 2018 and 2019 will be the full 9.9% for water and 9% for sewer. The water and sewer bills for a typical city household will increase $85.80 per year in fiscal year 2018 and $93.84 per year in fiscal year 2019. Therefore, in fiscal year 2019, the proposed rate increases for a typical city resident will result in increased water and sewer bills of about $210 per year. Customers with larger meter sizes and using larger volumes of water, which are usually the commercial users, will see the highest increase in the water and sewer bills. For example, the proposed rate increases during fiscal year 2007 for 4 of these larger commercial customers using only water range from 31.7% to 38.5% increases. Based on a review of the methodology and procedures used by the utilities to determine the proposed rate increases, including the proposed changes to the water and sewer rate structures, we believe that the proposed 9.9% water and 9% sewer rate increases for fiscal year 2017, 18, and 19 are reasonable based on the accuracy of the financial model provided, which we confirmed that data, and for the utilities to maintain their self-sufficiency and to meet its reserve and debt service requirements. However, because uncertainties can affect various estimates of revenue and expense amounts when projected 3 years in advance, and because of the uncertainties associated with a new rate structure, we recommend that the new rate increase be applied for only fiscal years 17 and 18, and that the utilities review the actual results after each year to determine whether any subsequent rate increases or reductions are necessary. If the rate increase is approved by the board for all 3 years as proposed, we recommend that the utilities compare actual results of operations with the projected amounts for fiscal years 2017 and 2018 to determine whether the rates approved for fiscal year 19 should be adjusted. We also recommend that these subsequent comparisons be subject to the review of the Department of Audits and that the results of this be presented to the Board of Estimates.
Thank you. Please note that the audit has been noted. Now hear testimony from the public. If you have not signed these sheets right here, these are the only sheets that we'll be calling from. So if you're going to testify, you have to go and sign up with these sheets that they have in the back. And so far, we only have 2 sheets that people have signed up. Some people haven't checked off that they want to testify. But I'm going to call your names anyway. Okay? We're going to ask that you come and line up in groups of 10, and I'm going to call your names. Miriam Barrett, McDonald McBride, Betty Jeffries, Chris Statler, Alexis Schofield, James Alston. This look like Mike DuPont, Derek Jones, Charlene Cowan, Margaret Henn. In that order. You will be given 2 minutes. Who has the time? She will have the time cards. You will be alerted when you have 30 seconds left. She'll hold up a yellow card. At that time, you should start bringing your remarks to a close. You'll be alerted when you are out of time. She will hold up a red card. So all you have to do is give your name, who you are representing, and speaking to the microphone. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Miriam Lawrence Barrett. I stand here today not only for myself, but for all of our elders, every income level, and for those who do not know this hearing is being held, and for you. As a Baltimore City citizen that pays property taxes, water, sewage, rain, bay fees, which I clearly do not understand, considering I have a slate roof, rainwater that goes into Mother Earth, and I do not have a boat. I propose that this increase not be approved because it will financially make it difficult for property owners who pay in Baltimore City in a manner that it will affect their survival. Specifically, the increase does not consider the fact that income for many tax-paying property owners does not increase. The proposal also does not equally increase all jurisdictions receiving water sewage service. I am aware that Baltimore County does not receive charges for sewer because that charge is within their Baltimore County tax bill. However, Baltimore City property tax bills are higher. This is not equal for all jurisdictions. For many years, the city has been required to pay minimum for water and sewage use. Now the proposal is for actual use with an increase. Moving from quarterly billing to monthly billing increases the use for paper, which equals more recycling. Increased work for staff to meet deadlines monthly. The use of technology is good to have, but not without its problems. All we have to do is look at hospitals and federal agencies that have been hacked. What happened with the metal from the covers of the meters? And what about oil-based asphalt, which runs, that we use to repair the streets that goes into the bay, that have to repeatedly be resurfaced? And will the businesses and stadiums have to pay this increased rate? I, Miriam Lawrence Barrett, Baltimore City citizen by way of Youngstown, Ohio, property owner and taxpayer of your salary, employees of Baltimore City, some who do not live in the city but make the decisions for the city, on record today require that you give better notification to the citizens about hearings such as this. And I also do not support this bill because I only saw notifications in the Baltimore Times. And when I called Comptroller Pratt's office, the first day I called, my sister called, and the lady was very kind. I called just this week myself. She asked me would I send in a notice by fax, email, and I was like, I don't have that access to do that. And I said, the meeting is on the 31st. So I said, can you take the information? Yes. So then she asked for my name and phone number, so I said, fine. I had a friend that told me that he called. They hung up on him. Now, when he called back, the woman who answered the phone said, I can't imagine anybody who would hang up on you. There are only two ladies that work in the office, herself and someone else. Well, somebody hung up on him. And see, this is the kind of thing that really opposes me. I'm sorry, thank you. And I want to make sure you get a copy.
You said you had something for a rain barrel, you said?
I have water that goes into the grass. Okay. My water does not go into the street.
Thank you.
Really, would she be able to go upstairs and talk to somebody about that?
I've talked to people upstairs. I've told them about my problem. They dismiss me. So, I don't understand all of this.
Okay.
It's just,
Well, they have somebody from Public Works on the fourth floor in the current room. Carolyn, can you show her where to go upstairs?
everybody.
McDonald,
so much.
McBride. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Barrett.
Yes, hello. My name is McDonald McBride.
Pull it up, Mr. McBride.
My name is McDonald McBride. I am challenging the rates, period. To me, they're unreasonable. The city should. The affordability of continuing rate increases, which has tripled since 2002 on a population in cities, which is 24% currently at or below federal poverty level. We've been getting this rate increase since 2002 every year, and up and double, and it's 42% in the last 3 years of water rates. The city should take a clue from other cities like Boston, San Francisco, and finance it itself instead of putting it on the back of citizens. The city got a AA bond rating. Okay, in most cities, Boston and Frisco have AA bond rating. They leverage that into money to repair the infrastructure. So why should the citizens who got to pay for it now, at this moment in time, when it's probably been ongoing for the last 200 years, when everybody neglected it, and also wanted now because of federal mandates and state mandate, they want it done like yesterday. Instead of the city putting some money up, despite the charge of the way it's set up here, the city can still finance this system through. So that way it's less hardship on people. Because the people have been financing all the way, and the way this, you got it going now, you want the people to finance it to the completion of the program, which will be going on to 2030, and the way you want to do it. Instead of the city stepping in and helping out. I mean, you want to help the infrastructure out, finance it, from the sewage, the water mains, and also the housing. Okay, San Francisco and Boston set an example. Okay, if you don't know, then you need to have somebody up there and look at it and see how it's done, because they did it successfully, and the city is thriving. In fact, it's thriving so good that people are moving back into the city instead of leaving. Baltimore lost a lot of people in the last 10 years moving out. So we're losing population instead of gaining population. And the only way you're going to gain population is when the infrastructure is fixed. When people see the city is actually doing something about it. When the people see the citizens are doing all the work, they don't want to move here. I'm not from here originally, but I've been here 20 years. Okay, I came visiting from Boston when they started doing all this work here. And I had been back there and see how the improvement has happened and how the city has been revitalized from the city actually participating in revitalization by putting up money instead of the citizens putting the money up. Boston and Baltimore, very similar city, age-wise, infrastructure-wise. Okay, and Boston's able to succeed in it and it shows. If you ever decide to go there, you will see the difference in the cities. It's so different. I mean, this is like a third world city from the looks of it, the way it looks so dilapidated, so many areas. If all the streets and pipes breaking every minute, you know, there's no systemic plans to do the city streets right. I mean, I don't know how, I mean, you know, they're doing haphazard. I mean, you got this emergency all over the city, and you got to always race into it instead of having a proactive plan. You reactive as the saying go. Boston took a proactive plan and decided to solve the problem. This is the way to do it. The big mains first. I mean, you got the Southwest, which is a huge main, transmission main. That breaks, we're in trouble. I mean, so the city should finance the plan, put the money up, and get it done with, and then come quicker. You can get it done in less than 20 years if the city finance it. Because this has been done in other cities. You know, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Miss Betty?
No.
Betty Jeffries, then Chris Statler, then Alexis Schofield.
Good morning. My name is Betty Jeffries, and I'm grateful to have this opportunity to express my concerns about the plans for the increased water bill rates and sewer rates. And the previous speakers have said much of what I had intended to say, so I'm going to be very brief. I understand the need for improving infrastructure. I understand the need for raising rates because we know that everything costs more money and it's costing more and more money. What I don't understand is the need for such high rates that are being charged. It is difficult, not only for me, but for others. I recently retired and I'm feeling the pinch of not having that larger income in my household, and I expect to feel it even more when the rates start going up for water. Water is not a luxury item, and that may go without saying, but sometimes I think that when laws are passed, you all are not living in the same atmosphere that we are. Water is a basic necessity, and I ask you to take that into consideration when you are raising these rates. Additional fees that are already added, that are going to be added to rates that are already high. You're going to add additional fees that were not there. That baffles me. The stormwater fee, I've never understood that. I understand that it's a federal mandate, but if the governor says you don't have to pay it, then why are we still paying it? So if Baltimore City does absolutely find it necessary to pay that stormwater fee, then how about decreasing the stormwater rate since you're going to raise the overall rates anyhow? Baltimore County is waiting until July of 2017 to begin this monthly billing, and I'm wondering, why are we in Baltimore City in such a rush? Why can't we wait until July 2017, give the new council members who will be coming in a chance to look over this program? I mean, if Congress can say we're not going to support or appoint a Supreme Court judge, we're not even going to hear the nominations until after the new president, then certainly we can wait until July to implement this water bill. And thirdly, whichever number I'm on, I do support the increase in income. I thought it was going to be, that you were suggesting that it be increased to $35,000 for seniors 65 and older. But with all the increases, we do need some help to pay for the water, which is a vital necessity and not a luxury. And I thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you. Chris Stadler, then Alexis Schofield, and James Austin.
Good morning. I'm Chris Stadler. In 1992, I began occupying the house which is my current residence. And my first 4 water bills after I began living in the house in North Baltimore totaled $78.20. My last 4 water bills from 2015 and 2016 totaled $524.96. I happily live alone. I've been living alone in that house for 24 years. And this increase in the cost of water comes to 571% over 24 years. On an annual basis, that comes to an increase of 23.79% per year increase. My water consumption currently is 36.5 gallons a day. And for a low-wage worker such as myself, this is an onerous burden to pay this much for water. For someone who makes the current Maryland minimum wage of $8.75, that person, if the person works 52 weeks a year, 40 hours a week, earns a gross income of $18,200. At the rate that I'm paying for water, I'm paying 3% of my gross income. That is before payroll deductions and taxes are taken out of my pay. 3% for water. The plan to move the billing system to on a monthly basis is not beneficial or convenient to the consumer. Who wants to sit down every month and pay a bill if you can pay it on a quarterly basis 4 times a year? Whether you pay it online or whether you sit down and write a check and put it in an envelope and mail it, it's a nuisance. I have my bills for my telephone and my gas and electric and my auto insurance taken directly out of my bank account. And I suggest that the same be done for this water bill, so people won't have to sit down once a month and pay a $30, $40 bill. It would be a complete nuisance. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Yeah, but he should be getting the discount. Yes,
Good
ma'am.
morning.
Good morning.
My name is Alexis Schofield. I reside in Edner Gardens. I live in my childhood home. I'm 63 years old, and I was forced to actually take my Social Security at the age of 62, not by choice. For health reasons, I could not work any longer. Living on a fixed income, I cannot afford any of this. I can barely afford to pay the bills that I have. When you pay quarterly, at least I can go ahead and put a few bucks aside so that when it's time to pay the bill, I can pay it. I cannot afford to pay, which is probably going to wind up being at least $50 a month, monthly. You might as well shut my water off now. And I feel like, you know, with regards to what everyone has said here today, and basically we're all saying the same thing, I feel it's falling on deaf ears. And I don't think anything is going to be done. I think everyone has already made up their minds as to what is going to happen and what is going to happen to people such as us. This poor gentleman that just spoke before me is making minimum wage. I really would hate to tell you what Social Security gives me monthly. I've worked since I was 17 years old and have nothing to show for it except the childhood home I live in. I have a roof over my head. I can barely pay my bills every month. And I really don't think any of you really seem to care. I really don't. And it's very sad. Very sad. You all are sitting in a position where you're making a nice, hefty annual salary. Put yourself in my shoes. In my shoes. Just for 1 month when your Social Security check is deposited into your account. You write your bills out, and you barely have enough to feed yourself. And I'm not joking. You all just sit here looking at me like I'm from another planet. I'm not. I'm a taxpayer. And just as the first young lady said, I pay your salaries. The only thing this city has done for me is with my property taxes. I have the homestead credit, I have a special credit, and every year for the past 15 years since my mother passed away and I've been in that house by myself with no other income coming in, I've been able to get my homeowner's credit. Without that, I would have to sell my home. And I don't know where I would go. I have no idea where I would go. Thank you for your time. Thank you for acknowledging me and looking at me when I speak. As you nod your head. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. Even though nothing's going to be done, I had to come down here today for the first time ever to walk in City Hall in 63 years of being raised in this city, to have to come down here for something as upsetting as this. Thank you.
I'm James Alston, and I just wanted to make 3 quick points. First, I'd like to say I do not support the hike. The first reason is because it's an additional housing cost burden, right? Right now, my water bill is not paid. It's $300. I can't afford it, right? It's going to have to wait until I can, and I don't know when I can, right? The second reason is that the sewage rate is now assumed at an incorrect assumption rate. It's assumed that every ounce of water that goes into the house from the source pipeline is the same amount of water that goes out of the house. Logically, that's not correct. And I hope you could think about that when you're deciding whether to to raise the rates or not, right? The third point is that I heard the auditor mention something about the senior program. Well, that doesn't work for all seniors. It didn't work for me and my mother when she was alive. She died in 2014. We didn't qualify because my name was on the deed. Although I didn't live there physically, my name was on the deed. And for that reason, she didn't qualify, right? So that's the only 3 points I have to make. I hope you consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike DuPont, followed by Derek Jones, Charlene Cowan, and Margaret Henn.
Good morning, and I thank the Board of Estimates for giving us this opportunity to talk. I'm representing my neighborhood, and I'm also, which is the Winehurst Association, that type of neighborhood, not for them, but I'm also representing a condo association, the Villagers of Homeland, and they are about 250 units, and also another condo association of about 90 units over on Roland Avenue called 4401. And what we have noticed is that water has increased about 33%, and we're like panicked, 33% in a period of like maybe 3 years. And we're really kind of panicked about it now. I hear, it'll be another 33%. In terms of your monthly billing, we're okay for that because we analyze that and we try to look at it month to month. So if we can get some regular monthly billing, we can project that because we need to do better projections. We don't understand. We put in your increases and it's more than that. So, we don't understand that. The other thing is we do understand there's a lot of hardships for people on limited income. I'm retired now. My mother's 83. She sees her water bill going up, so that's like a real problem. And we don't really know how to handle all of that, especially now with the condos associations that the presidents have said go down and represent us. The question there is we have senior citizens, maybe 25% are seniors, maybe more are in these associations. How do they get a piece? Because it all flows into their homeowners association fees. So, it's all mixed in. How would they get any kind of credit for being a senior citizen when you live in a condo? And we really think that the communications needs to be improved. I mean, we don't want to read about this in the paper. And, the stewardship, 85 years, 100 years, you guys are, inherited the issues and you have to do it. But the stewardship has to be there all the time. And just, on a maintenance level so that we don't have these intergenerational type of inequities. I mean, people who didn't have to pay for water for the last 50, 60 years now, the burden is all on the young people, and all the young people don't want to come here because it's just so expensive. So I just asked you about that. And borrow the money now while the interest rates are cheap. Do your bond funds or your bonds, issue your bonds to pay for this and spread it out. I'm against the increase or, just push it off as far as you can and push it 40, 50 years along the line. That's what I would say. Please, spread it out. Not 10 years. We don't need consent decrees to force us to do what's right. We don't need to have the federal government saying you got to do it. We should have been doing this ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Good
Council.
morning.
My name is Derek Jones, and I'm a resident of Baltimore City at 2223 Brookfield Avenue, which is Reservoir Hill. And I understand that it's a need to improve the infrastructure. That's not a concern of mine. But I do want to try to see where I missed the point of you guys being a little more transparent and how you disclose or either present to the customers and the citizens how you derived at coming up with these rates. Before you propose increasing rates and adding fees, what have you done to reduce expenses? Has there been an outside audit conducted to determine what changes can be made to reduce operating costs, such as reduction in staff, consolidating work, determining which ones actually contribute which ones actually contribute and which ones are administrative overhead and can be let go? I mean, it affects every business out here. Let's see. A reduction in staff may be consolidated work, determine determine which ones actually contribute. You can improve procurement process. You can embrace technology. There's outsourcing. There's telecommute. There's pay invoices early and on time. Are we doing that? Are we being penalized for not doing it? There's identifying efficiencies, canceled unused services. We can go green. I don't hear anybody promoting and advocating going green. A lot of companies downtown can go green. We can estimate or eliminate waste, place stricter limits on the use of office supplies, company-sponsored travel, invest in efficiency in purchasing and installing equipment to make your business more efficiency or energy efficient. And then also I have a question about these automatic meters, these AMRs. Was it really necessary to get new meters? Automatic meters, AMR, can you provide any reports indicating the cost savings for the upgrade and benefits to the customer that are significant? I ask because the old meters worked fine. Sure, there may have been a deviation in the accuracy by plus or minus 2% at most, but the cost to the customer for this minute inaccuracy does not seem worth the investment for AMR. I would be willing to pay a loss of 2% to 3% before you pay millions into AMR. The millions of dollars for the upgrade was at the customer's expense because you have incorporated this cost into the customer's bill. The money used to purchase new meters could have been used to replace pipes or whatever else you want to do for the infrastructure. What's the accuracy of the new meters? Is it a technical malfunction waiting to happen like the traffic photo cameras? Can you present what your current operating expenses are? How the rate and fees increase within the next 2 years will contribute to reaching goals set for the future, and also the impervious land fee or the sewer runoff fee. This is an act of God. Are we penalized for that? Are you going to regulate our breathing and give us breathing apparatus next? I don't know. Okay, and as for the impervious land, I had to pay my driveway because of rats. It helps prevent them from boring holes. But now that I paved the driveway, now I'm being charged for impervious rain fees. I don't understand. You guys got me with my hands up. Think about it.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Charlene Cowan, Margaret Henn, Patrick Stewart, Gail Fallow, Jim French, Denise Wallace, Jay Smith, and Kim Trueheart in that order.
Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm Charlene Cowan, a city resident, taxpayer, and water consumer in Pigtown. After the announcement of the additional 33% increase in my water rates, my immediate thought was, wow, when will this end? When will the city stop taxing and feeding us city residents to death? However, I kept my thoughts to myself and tried to get over what seemed like the inevitable, another rate increase. As the days went on, I began to hear other people in the city voicing the same thoughts I had. As I was checking my mail on my porch front, my neighbor would make a comment about that damn water bill. As I patronized businesses around my neighborhood, I would find myself overhearing comments like, didn't we just go through this? Didn't they say the new meters would help keep our bills low? And even comments like, a 33% increase, I don't know how I'm going to pay. At a local neighborhood meeting, a discussion came up about tax liens and a local woman who had recently lost her home due to unpaid water bills. The meeting coordinator distributed copies of a pamphlet she had received from DPW that she wanted to share, which explained how the monthly water billing schedule was going to help people budget better. I think I may be able to manage the new monthly billing schedule despite another rate hike and additional administrative fees, but I can't help but wonder, how is DPW budgeting? City residents are expected to dig deeper into their pockets and shell out more and more money for water bills that seem to increase steadily with no relief in sight, while DPW skips the mandated audits for another year. How can DPW ask us to budget better and come up with more money when they do nothing of the sort? We're told previous hikes were to pay for the smart meters, but now you're saying that's what these increases do. If the smart meters are more efficient, then how is this costing us, the consumers, more money? The smart meters should be saving DPW money, which in turn would pay for the meters without raising our rates. Understandably, Baltimore City will need to make improvements to deteriorating infrastructure soon. However, it is the city government that is responsible for allowing the problem to fester for so long. Do not punish city residents for DPW's budgeting and planning failures. The DPW owes city residents a completed audit before it begins to consider any rate adjustments. Once the audit is complete and presented to the city residents, only then should a course of action be decided upon. Let's trim the fat off DPW's budget and tighten their belt, just like the residents are being asked to tighten ours.
Thank you. Margaret Hen?
Good morning.
Morning.
Members of the board, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Margaret Hen. I am the co-chair of the Baltimore Tax Sale Working Group, which is a coalition of over 30 nonprofits, community developers, funders, and representatives from city agencies who are working to improve Baltimore's tax sale system. We have in this group a water bill subcommittee, which is specifically concerned with water bill affordability and transparency. And as many folks have already testified here, water bills right now are just simply unaffordable for many of Baltimore's residents, and that's been the experience of our group. After a 42% water increase over the last 3 years, the increase over the next 3 years is projected to be almost 30%, and there are many people who are just unable to pay. Our group did a study of DPW's records in March and found that there were over 16,000 residential accounts that had shut-off notices in March of 2016, and there were 7,700 residential customers that had water bills over $750. There are just so many people who are already unable to pay their water bills, and an increase is going to place an extreme burden on these citizens of Baltimore. Members of our group have worked with clients in legal services who were raising children in homes with no running water, who were unable to shower in their homes because of lack of water, and it's not uncommon that we would see someone with a water bill in excess of $1,000, even $2,000, with no apparent explanation from either DPW or private plumbers that have come out to try to look into why the bill might be so high. And for the clients that we all serve, these water and sewer rates disproportionately affect seniors and people with disabilities. We definitely see that. Many of the seniors we work with have incomes that are $700 to $800 a month. And for our tax sale prevention clinics that we did last year, the average quarterly bill was almost $200. So you're looking at someone who's expected to put about almost 10% of their income into paying their water bill, which is just very unaffordable. Experts have said that about 2 to 4% of income is what's reasonable for someone to be able to pay towards their water bill. So 10% is obviously unaffordable. The reason we were working with these clients is that they were on the tax sale list and at risk of losing their homes. About 70% of the tax sale clients we worked with were seeking our services because of delinquent water bills. The increases to the senior discount program are just not enough to offset what the proposed water bill increases, and the same with the increase to the low income assistance credit. The low income assistance credit is proposing an increase of $18, and the senior assistance credit only applies to people making less than $30,000 a year in certain circumstances, and also only applies to volumetric charges, meaning it will not apply to the fixed account management fees and infrastructure fees. By 2018, the total of these increases is going to be over $250, and the senior who's getting that senior credit will not be able to apply the discount to a significant portion of those fees. Our group understands the need for improvements to the water and wastewater infrastructure, but we do urge that DPW and the board consider a more comprehensive plan for how to put in place increases with some kind of affordability considerations. There have been a number of other cities and states, including Pennsylvania, Colorado, and New Jersey, who have done income-based payment plans for waters. Last sentence, I promise. The income-based credit plans have shown that when someone can afford to pay their water bill, they will pay, and they have reduced costs for the water departments in those locations in terms of collection, and they've improved payment, the number of payments that people have made. Thank you.
You can come on.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, City Council President, members of the board. Thank you for convening this public hearing. My name is Patrick Stewart. I'm with Penrose, a nationally recognized developer and manager of affordable housing communities. We have an extensive footprint in Maryland, specifically Baltimore. I also happen to be a resident of Baltimore, proudly, and a homeowner. I'm here to voice our concerns about the proposed water rate hikes. We recognize the critical importance, as others have recognized, of the city's public water and sewer infrastructure, that there are significant costs associated with maintenance of the system. However, we're very concerned that the proposed rate hikes will have significant negative consequences, not only for providers of affordable housing, but for all residents, businesses, and stakeholders. We've been active in the city for over 15 years. During that time, we've created over 1,000 units of housing, 13 properties in the city, a number of different neighborhoods. And as owner and long-term manager of the communities we build, we generally pay for our residents' water and sewer usage. These costs represent a significant portion of ongoing operating expenses, but beyond monthly and annual operating expenses, these rate hikes could have the effect of actually hindering our ability and others' ability to preserve existing and produce new affordable housing in Baltimore. All of these projects rely on debt financing in order to finance construction and design and other costs. Higher operating expenses reduce our ability to, the project's ability to take on and repay loans. The result is that projects will either not get built because they face financing gaps, or additional resources from the city, from Baltimore Housing, et cetera, may need to be sought. Those funds are finite and scarce, and as a result of these rate hikes, we argue they will become even more so. So to sum up, we're concerned that fewer affordable housing units may get built if the proposed rate hikes take effect. At a minimum, we suggest that implementation of the rate hikes be delayed, and additional time be taken in order to fully identify the true cost and impacts of the rate hikes and find another way to pay for needed improvements. We also suggest that the city be incentivizing and rewarding conservation by applying discounts and credits to users who consume less. And we also agree that sensitive populations such as the elderly, seniors, families, low-income families, and persons with disabilities should have access to discounts and credits on their water bills. And we urge the city to go a step further by applying discounts to water and sewer bills for affordable housing properties, income-restricted affordable housing properties, in light of the needs of these sensitive populations. Once again, thank you for your time and consideration of these comments.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Gail Philo. I am the Vice President of Operations for Penrose Management. My colleague Patrick made some very good points about the impact of this water hike on multifamily housing in the city. As Patrick mentioned, Penrose owns and operates over 1,000 units of affordable housing in 13 properties in various neighborhoods in the city. Many of our residents have their rental payments subsidized through the project-based voucher program, and most of the others are subsidized through the Housing Choice Voucher Program through the Housing Authority of Baltimore City. In these programs, maximum rent limits are set, which includes a utility allowance offset to ensure the continued affordability of the rental rates for our residents. However, at several of our properties, the actual expenses for water and sewer already exceed the approved HABC utility allowance for water and sewer, and that is before today's proposed rate increase is implemented. Penrose Management calculated that the proposed rate increase would raise our per unit per year cost for water and sewer by over $300 over the 3-year implementation period. However, HABC, with its limited funding, only allows small incremental rental rate increases for our voucher tenants, and these amounts will not offset the proposed utility costs. Under these circumstances, it is clear that most multifamily apartment owners, and certainly the owners of the affordable housing in the city, will consider submetering for water so that these increased costs can be passed on to the tenants at a time when rental housing affordability is already challenging in our city. In 2015, the Food and Water Watch Advocacy Group calculated that 1/3 of Baltimore residents could not afford to pay their water bills after the last round of increases. And today's proposed increase will likely amplify this challenge for our residents and for our neighbors across the city. Most likely, this will drive them from the city to seek affordable homes elsewhere in the neighboring counties. While we support the city's desire to improve infrastructure, we urge the council to consider the many aspects these proposed rate increases will bring to the residents of Baltimore City. Thank you.
May I have your comments?
Sure.
Thank you.
Jim?
Good morning, Honorable President, Madam Mayor, Madam Comptroller, members of the board. I'm Jim French with the Towner Management Company. We are owner, operator, developer of affordable housing in the city. I want to thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak and express my concern about the current proposal to raise water and sewer rates once again, and to bring your attention to the disproportionate harm that such a rate increase will have on lower-income Baltimoreans living in rental housing. Let me begin by saying that I certainly understand the need for the increase and how the additional funds will be used to continue to make needed infrastructure upgrades in an aging system. My office is right in the middle of Park Center, PACA, Mulberry, so we're dealing with those infrastructure issues every day in trying to operate a business. Obviously, Baltimore's not alone among urban areas who've had to bear the burden of making these changes with little assistance from the federal and state government. But what I find objectionable with this proposal, as with those that have preceded, is that it unfairly penalizes providers of affordable housing who have had to cope with increasing operating expenses while rental revenues have stayed relatively flat. We've heard a lot recently about new initiatives that could pump additional dollars into creating new affordable housing in places like Port Covington. However, in addition to new capital funding resources, I think we should also focus on preserving the existing affordable housing that we have, and helping to control and reduce operating expenses in affordable housing projects is one way of helping to preserve affordable housing. The new Baltimore billing to be rolled out in October will eliminate minimum fees and place the onus on consumers to control their usage, with pricing being based primarily on consumption. What the new policy fails to recognize, however, is that not all ratepayers can control their water use equally. Owners of multifamily buildings typically take on the responsibility of paying water and sewer charges, since leaving the responsibility with residents can risk non-payment and lead to municipal liens and the threat of tax sale foreclosure. Monthly billing will certainly help building landlords to identify and act on problems earlier. However, large families and overcrowding can contribute to higher consumption. Many of these properties were underwritten and their debt sized with an assumption of 3% annual operating increases. But with an annual increase more than 3 times that number, these properties are more difficult to operate, and cash that would typically have been used to improve maintenance and ensure long-term sustainability, including energy and water savings retrofits, will be diverted to pay ever-increasing utility bills. There are mechanisms in the current system to offer relief to low-income homeowners, seniors, and those in economic hardship. However, no such mechanism exists yet to assist owners and operators of quality affordable housing projects. Other cities have come up with some innovative approaches to address the issue. New York City, for example, offers multifamily buildings with affordable housing regulatory agreements in place, a per-unit credit. Other cities have affordable housing cap, whereby rates cannot increase above a fixed amount. These initiatives are coupled with programs that actively encourage water conservation and resident education. So I would ask that the board recognize that municipal water and sewer rate policies can have the unintended consequence of jeopardizing the availability of affordable housing. I would propose a study period before implementing the new increase, and that you seek ways, perhaps through the formation of a working group, to come up with a workable remedy to this problem. And thanks again for the opportunity to speak.
May I have your comments? Thank you.
Denise Wallace, Jay Smith, Kim Trueheart, Renee Hutchins, Beth Benner, Octavia Anderson.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
morning.
Yes, my name is Denise Wallace, and I'm here to state that I definitely oppose the rate increase. I am a single resident. I live by myself. I have no jacuzzi, no hot tub, no swimming pool. I have nothing at my home that where I would use a large amount of water. I don't water my grass. I very seldom wash my car because I take my car to a car wash to be washed. So I use a minimum amount of water. And my water bill is almost $600 a year. And right now, my employment status, I'm working part-time, so all of my monies that I pay out of my household, excluding the water, is a hardship for me. And I live in the Grove Park community, and where I live, most of the people are senior citizens. They are longtime homeowners, and such as myself, don't have access to any items that would be a usage of large bodies of water. And so I just wanted to make a statement that I oppose the increase. And one other point that nobody else has made is that there are a lot of people that work in the city, that live in the surrounding counties. They come to the city, they're driving here, they're using water in their places of business and so forth. And if there's going to be a hardship on the city to, pay these fees, then I think the county should also be responsible in paying a fair share of this increase, because a lot of people come here and they work here and have businesses and stuff here. So, and they also are contributing to the really bad infrastructure of the streets and stuff right now. So that's the only point I wanted to make.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, good morning. My name is Jay. I'm down here because I wasn't going to come because I know y'all already made your mind up anyway. But to force my opinion make me feel better. My thing is that
just come up.
Okay, my thing is that I got a turn-off notice. I've been on my property for 12 years, never got one before. 2 days after I paid $1,100 to get my roof fixed. 2 days later, I get a turn-off notice. I used all the money that I had to get the roof fixed. And it's due on the 2nd. They only gave me about 10 days. To call for extension, they give you 10 days. And my thing is that you lose your house if you do not pay your water bill. Water is free, come from God. I know we have to pay for the pipes and things like that, but why can't we do it once a year on a small amount? And our water is tapped into, the county is tapped into our water. Only reason I'm saying this is because my girlfriend had 4 children, husband, dog, everything. She paid $54 quarterly. Mine is $387 one person. My grandchildren come over, my family come over. And it really pissed me off when she brags about it, how much she pays. But it's not her fault. I believe that we should try to do something where when they get tapped into it, give them responsibility of paying their water bill like we pay ours. If mine's $300-something, hers should be $300-something. If hers $54, mine should be $54. It's just that, it's just terrible. I had 10 people on my block say they was coming with me. I have not seen one. But I said I was going to get down here. It might not matter to you, but it matters to me. And to get billed every month, do that means that if you don't pay your water bill every month, more people going to get cut off notice? What's going to happen? We're going to have more people living out on the street, living with other people. I love my house. I'm living the dream, and I feel good in my house. But it's terrible, the things that we had to go through to pay this water bill. And it really hurts, and it's really upsetting. Now, I'm hoping that I'll be able to pay this. I have to go over here now and try to get an extension for 10 days, and hoping in 10 days I can pay this water bill. But if I can't, then what's going to happen? I'm going to be out on the street? It's just terrible. Well, I know y'all probably doing everything other than looking at me and listen to what I have to say.
Actually trying to get you some help right now.
Oh, okay.
And I wish, I'm going to just put this out there. There's nobody up here that's making any judgments
I'm just saying that
about
just
you
looking.
or anybody else that's been sent. And I would hope that before any of you pass judgment on what you think any of us are thinking, that we just give each other mutual respect. We're all sitting here listening to you, and we're here for that reason.
I can understand, man, but the way that y'all was doing it when I was
We were doing
talking,
it because we're trying to make sure you get immediate help.
I hope so. And I hope and pray that I can get
That's
some
all
help.
we were doing, was to try to make
Thank
sure
you
that
for addressing
somebody
me for that.
somebody
and thank you
gives
for
you
trying to
immediate
give me
help.
some help.
Danielle's gonna.
She's gonna help you.
Thank you so much.
Danielle, go with Danielle.
All right, thank you. And I just hope that y'all do not pass this bill.
Go with Danielle.
All right, thank you.
Good job. All right, Kim. Use this mic.
This one? Really? Good morning.
Welcome back.
My name is Kim Trueheart, a resident, native of Baltimore City. 3 years ago, I stood in this room after the Board of Estimates meeting to increase the water rates to 42%, by 42%, and had a very tearful, emotional discussion with Mr. Chow. And I tried to appeal to him to do some things differently. And I'm thankful that you've given us a chance to come here and tell you again how you're failing us. I don't understand the purpose of the audit that was presented this morning to verify his methodology. Made no sense to me. I would appreciate an audit of the department that looks into efficiencies, that looks into how they perform, whether the contractors are providing the level of work that we are asking of them. Here recently, we had to go back and pay another contractor because the first contractor screwed up the work so bad, right? We're talking millions of dollars in rework. I don't get this. And you can't keep coming back to us asking us to pay for mistakes, 'cause it's not right. I need that presentation that was presented this morning online somewhere. I need to see it. I want some clarity in what's going on. Your gentleman presented his presentation slides, and he said everybody's paying the same rate. I don't think that's appropriate. I think we need an affordability scale to pay based on income and demand and usage. I think we need to repeal Ordinance 941, which sets up this waste and water utility fund. We need to put in place a water and wastewater commission that is made up of citizens. Right now, Mr. Chow gets to determine the level of work that gets performed. He gets to determine how much he charges us for that work and the prioritization of that work. I think that's totally inappropriate. I think he needs some oversight and control because you guys don't do it. And so from a civilian perspective, resident perspective, allow us to participate in this process. You can't keep doing stuff to us. And right now, this is unconscionable. We had a consent decree in 2002 with EPA, and for the last 14 years, very little happened to comply with that decree. But one thing that did happen is sewage kept coming in the basements of residents throughout the 14 years. If nobody else gets an exemption from the rate increase, those people who continue to get backups in their basement need to be exempted from this. Those people who have claims that are sitting in the law department, which you refuse to process for the damages caused by the sewage backup, need to be exempt from this. Right now, you need to show us some concern and compassion that you can increase the water rate whenever you friggin' feel like it, okay? That's what you're allowing Mr. Chow to do. Not based on credible planning, projections, and programs that make sense. Have you looked at the work he's doing? No. Do you even understand how wasteful this department is? No. Do you care that we're throwing good money down the drain? Yes, the sewage drain. Look at it. Put put a study group together to help you understand what you're about to vote on. Because I know you're going to vote for it. You know, there's no question about that. But the issue here is the integrity of the process, the performance of the work that's being done, and these contractors who are milking us for every friggin' dime they can, and you sit here and let it happen.
Ms. Trueheart,
Thank you.
I just want to let you know that the Department of Public Works financial audit is being done now, and that the Department of Public Works performance audit is ongoing.
Awesome.
Be done soon? It's on.
What was presented earlier this month? What was that?
That was an audit. Can we continue with the testimony, please? Renee Hutchins.
We're trying to get answers here, man. What's
Beth,
your problem?
Beth Benner.
Pay attention.
Octavia
Follow the
Anderson.
script.
Sal
She was trying to give me
Sabatino.
an answer, which
John,
is
why
more
don't you
than
do
you
that,
could
John?
ever do.
John, why don't you do that? All right, let's continue with the testimony, please.
No.
Renee Hutchins,
Issue, son.
Beth
Pay
Benner,
attention. Use the
Octavia
friggin'
Anderson,
gavel yourself out of here.
Renee Hutchins, Beth Benner, Octavia Anderson, Sal Sabatino, and Miss Lee, in that order. Why would you do that?
To be transparent. I was answering the question.
Whoa.
Go ahead.
Wow, this is scary. I'm Beth Benner, and I'm the executive director of the Women's Housing Coalition. I've sent a letter in earlier on behalf of several of the agencies who represent formerly homeless, very low income, and disabled individuals. So I'm here on behalf of the executive directors of GEDCO, Marion House, McVet, Project Place, at least those I know of who I've spoken with. What we're here about is we're concerned about the disproportionate burden. We are also low-income housing developers, and I think the previous speakers addressed a lot of those particular issues. But we're out here to try to do what the city's goal is, which is to make homelessness rare and brief. And I think this bill as structured, or this rate increase as proposed, is really going to have a lot of unintended consequences in relation to that. The existing subsidies are woefully inadequate, and we constantly have clients and individuals in our programs who run out of the subsidies, or the subsidies aren't enough to help them to get out of their water bill problems. The increase will either be absorbed by our organizations, which are woefully underfunded, or by our residents who often live on TDAP or disability, and that's just not enough money to go through all of that. Somebody raised earlier that the HUD utility allowances aren't going up proportionally. They're already too low, and the amount that they get allotted into their programs isn't enough. Our subsidies are often with ceilings if our subsidies aren't coming through HABC. So as rate increases come up, there's nothing no source we have to help fund that. What happens is if our residents get their utilities turned off, it results them in living in a place not meant for human habitation, which goes right against the idea of making homelessness rare and brief. Or we have to bail them out financially, or worse, we have to evict them because they've now broken their leases. None of that is acceptable to us. We agree that the city needs to fix their infrastructure, but we really need you to think about the unintended consequences. And before this gets passed, because we do object to this right now, is that you consider a less inequitable structure for the people that can't afford to pay these. We need to think about combining a rate increase with other financing options, and we need to consider additional funding to the various subsidy programs. It's very difficult when you're working with an individual and every program you sent them to is out of money and doesn't have money till the next fiscal year, and their problem is real and it's now. So we really need you to think about the fact that while you have a real need for increasing and improving the infrastructure to serve all of us, that we have to do it in a way that is not putting an unrealistic burden on the least of us in the city, and that we don't hurt the goals of the city in terms of serving the low, very low, and homeless populations. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Beth Benner?
That was her. That was her.
Okay. Octavia Anderson? followed by Sal Sabatino, Miss Lee, James Morant, and Councilman Warren Branch, in that order.
Good morning, Madam Mayor. Good morning, President Jack John.
Good
and
morning.
good morning, Controller Joan Pratt.
Good morning.
I speak behalf. I wasn't going to come in this morning. My girlfriend called me this morning to come down
Come up
here.
to the mic.
My girlfriend called me this morning to come down here to speak. It's just not about the water bill. It's about gentrification that's happening in Baltimore City. Baltimore City is not going to look like me in a couple of years, and it's happening now if you go downtown. I have no problem with that. The problem that I have is that the service that we're getting, even if you say you're going to lower the income to $30,000 for senior citizens, my mother's not going to qualify. She's 84 years old. She lives in a house in Baltimore City that she doesn't reside in right now. She lives in Westminster, Maryland. But her property taxes are paid, and her water bill is paid every month. For a person who don't live there, she got a water bill like 3 people there washing clothes and taking showers. My house, just me. I have come to learn to, when my wash machine lets the water out, I use that water to water my flowers. So I'm doing everything to conserve water, but my water bill seems not to be going down. One person, I live with one person. My neighbor next door is 4 of them. Their water bill is less than my water bill. They don't water flowers at all. They let the ground go dry. So with the water bill going up, I don't agree with it. People can't afford to pay it quarterly, and then you're going to say once a month, and they can't pay it now. And then we got a crazy old law in Baltimore City that needs to be changed, that you take people's houses based on a water bill tax. And so many of our seniors that's happening to, they're not going to neighborhoods to visit some of my old seniors who are 93. When they lived in those particular neighborhoods, they were growing, booming neighborhoods. They're paying taxes for houses that are abandoned across the street. Their water bills are high, but they continue to pay their water bill. So none of those people that I know are going to qualify for $30,000 a year, because some of them make 38, 40, 45. So it's not fair. It's not fair to a water bill that you're not even adjusting the water bill, but what HUD use for low-income housing. And for Mr. Chow, he doesn't live in Baltimore. He lives in Montgomery County. So why don't we pick people like the Honorable Kirk Smoke? I love them. If you live in Baltimore, you should be able to get a job in Baltimore. 6 months I've been out of work trying to get a job in Baltimore City. You tell me I don't qualify for what? What I don't qualify for? Then you say you're going to get better customer service? I'm in the water bill. You got seniors coming up to come get their water bill. They got to go on the computer and get a ticket. I'm over there helping seniors put their information in order to get a ticket. So if you say great customer service, I'm still looking for it. Just customer service pertinent all in Baltimore, that people care about a city that we live and that we cannot afford to pay those water bills because gentrification is here. Have a great one.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Sal Sabatino, James Morant, and Councilman Branch.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here with a story that you've heard many, many times. I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
He's next.
What's your name?
You just called him for next.
Lee. Sabatino, Angela, Miss Lee, then James Morant. So Miss Lee, then James Morant, then Councilman Branch. What's your name, Miss?
Renee Hatcher.
Hatcher.
I think you mispronounced my name earlier.
Okay. All right.
You want her to go next?
Yeah, let her go next. Okay, come on, Miss Hatcher. I called you Miss Hutchin because it looks like Hutchin.
Who's Miss
next?
Renee.
Oh, Miss, you go.
Okay.
It looked like Hutchin. I
Then
said
Sal.
Renee Hutchin.
Then you. Then him.
All right.
So good morning. My name is Renee Hatcher. I am a community development attorney and professor at the University of Baltimore School of Law. In the last semester, our students were interviewing residents in the city of Baltimore that experienced a water shutoff on a right to water project. And in addition to that, they were representing homeowners who were at risk of losing their home because of a water tax lien. Currently, what we know is an analysis of the current water rates. Roughly 1/3 of Baltimore residents cannot afford their water bill. So this leads to a number of different unaccounted for consequences. When individuals experience a water shutoff, they are at risk of losing their children from the state. They are at risk of eviction, of homelessness. A number of the residents that we interviewed experienced these consequential problems, and it was a huge detriment to them. Beyond that, with the subsidy programs that the city currently points to and has in place, a lot of times residents, when they call DPW, are not made aware of those programs. For example, we interviewed one young woman who was a homeowner in Baltimore. She had her elderly father living with her who had stage 4 cancer. She was never made aware of the medical waiver. Her water has currently been shut off for over a year. Again, this leads to consequences in terms of sanitation. So again, our students filed a human rights complaint along with a number of different coalition groups around the country about the right to water. Right to water and sanitation is a human right. It is recognized by the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights. And so I would just caution all of you to not raise the water rates. We currently have a problem with the rate structure that's in place right now. The Baltimore Sun has done an analysis in which the water rates are set to increase if this goes forward by 33% in the next 3 years. Food and Water Watch has reported that up to 55% increase for certain families. And the fact of the matter is that these water rates in this current structures and these programs disproportionately affect seniors, Black residents in Baltimore, folks with disabilities. And the fact of the matter is that people cannot afford water, and water is an absolute necessity for everyone. So I would just caution all of the members to oppose this bill. I would ask you to oppose this bill and currently take another look at the water programs and the rate structure that's in place. Thank you.
Sal Sabatino.
Again, good morning. I'm here on a matter that you've read about over and over and over again. I got a $19,000 water bill 6 years ago. I had a $12,000 water bill before that. My first time around the corner, I went to foreclosure, had to pay it off and eat it. The second time around the corner, I didn't eat it. I didn't pay it, and I didn't pay my property taxes. Why would I pay my property tax when I would lose my property for a $19,000 water bill? I asked for city assistance, get a plumber. And I said to the city, you have one responsibility, to provide a quality product with quality equipment and a quality time period. When I finally stopped paying the bill and started really battling, I had more meetings with people in the city than you got at this counter. Finally, in 2014, after they replaced the meter in June 13, my water bills dropped from 448 units a quarter, 600 units a quarter, 275 a quarter, down to 52. And I said to the city when it first started, would you please come out and replace my meter? That's all I asked, replace a little meter. That was too much trouble. It was more appropriate for them to turn around and spend untold hours arguing with me and like other people, like we don't know what we're talking about. Well, in this folder is water bills that go back to 2005 that aren't off by 10 or 12 units, averaged a quarter. Finally, in October 14, I got a credit on my water bill from the water department. And my water bill dropped to the point where I had an $8,000 or $10,000 credit. Now, I wasn't wrong. The water meter was right. But I got this credit. I was told by the Department of Public Works if I'd have seen that credit come across my desk, I would not authorized it because our equipment is 102% accurate. Correct, Mr. Chow? That was your letter.
I read many letters.
Well,
so
I
didn't see that letter.
am absolutely proud American to know that one city in the country has equipment that's 102% accurate. So I'm here today to tell you, I want a meeting with you, Jack, Ms. Young. I want to be reimbursed for the money that I laid out, and I want an apology, because I'm going to tell you, what these poor people are going to go through, I'm 150%, and I am, because I tell you 150% it is, that I'm against this water increase. My apartments, you do not allow me to charge water bills at evictions. The tenants don't pay their rent. All the independent landlords are getting hosed, no pun intended, with these water bills of usage because you rent to somebody. I'm not there every day. They have half their family going in and out of your apartment, taking showers and baths and everything else. And I try to control it. But the city has not been and is not now a partner with corporate renters, independent renters, and you want us to put our money up to provide housing. Well, I was. My apartments were $650 a month and $795. I don't think I was gouging. Okay? The city has got to, look, these articulate ladies behind me, you got to sit back and you got to turn around and really look at this thing and say, what are we doing? We've got empty houses. Who in the hell wants to buy them? I pay less property taxes on my home in Harford County than I was paying on my property on Greenmount Avenue. I was paying a third of the water bill in Harford County than I was paying for 6 people living in my building. All right? And then the other part you guys are, don't, and I say you guys, that's going on, then you got an environmental department. If somebody decides to throw trash on your yard and you don't know it, you get a fine. And it bills $1,500 fines? Are you kidding me? I've been one of the biggest advocates for Greenmount Avenue to keep the 2400 block clean in the back by talking to people in the public works department and the sanitation and work with them hand by hand to get the alley straightened out. Next day, you got as much trash dumped as before. Yet the city can find cameras to put on these problem alleys and continue to pay $5,000 and $10,000 a year out of pocket to clean alleys for people that are not good citizens. So again, I'd appreciate an appointment.
Thank you.
And Mayor, if you have a chance, I'd like to talk to you on this issue because it might help you in your future endeavors.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Lee?
Thank you for this opportunity. As I was telling Mr. Huber this morning, I wish you would have more than just one meeting for something like this.
Ms. Lee, we're going to need you to come very close to the microphone.
Okay. I'm bringing up an issue that has to do with your personnel. When I moved to my home in 2009, I was given a $10,000 water bill that belonged to big business, Bank of New York. So why is it I call Ms. Pratt's office? I'm still dealing with you now, but I've been like getting, they trying to help. $10,000. I talked to Mr. Ed Scribner and Ms. Murray. No one would help me in the city. Take away from the time.
No, you can go ahead.
No, I was saying don't add that time on.
No,
to
we
it.
won't.
So my concern is this. Why is the city holding big business $10,000 water bill and did not submit it to my title company? They did nothing for me. I had to go to the title company and say, why didn't you do something or take out with the water bill that wasn't mine? It was Bank of New York's water bill. So I'm getting nervous. So what happened is that Gemini Title Company called the city and say, send us the bill. So you need to look at the people within in the city government. Mrs. Scribner, Miss Murray, they wouldn't help me at all. I was a senior then. So my concern is there's too much corruption within the city government. When Mr. Scribner followed me, he's following me today, and he's manager of the water department. I have another property we got from my husband's brother's nephew. We had to, and he says to me, he didn't give me a release. So I'm saying your people is all over the place for personal reasons. You shouldn't have anyone that's intimidating people, especially the seniors. But I would like to thank Mr. Child because he did intervene and took off the snow bill. They had cited me wrongfully. So what I'm saying now is that Mr. Ed Scribner, when he's from the manager of water, when my husband and I redeemed the nephew's tax bill, he wouldn't give me a release. Now he wrote land records and says he don't think we rightfully own the property when we do. So what is wrong with your people in city government? It's so much corruption. I can prove everything I'm saying. My organization, along with Salima Mary, had music put back in the schools back in the 70s. We had the superintendent removed because of our investigations. So what is going on with the city? I could tell the mayor something in the past that she would help get rid of some of these people. They're so rude. So many people you talk to. They're rude, they're disrespectful, and they get angry when you call up and legitimately complain. So why do you have the city holding on to a $10,000 water bill and try to give it to me when you're cutting off people's water bills that maybe owe $200, $300, or $400? I would like to lastly say I'd like to apologize for the mayor. When the lady threw, I didn't see it, water in the face. If I was her, I would have thrown it back. So I wanted to apologize to that citizen, but maybe you were thinking about saving water, so you didn't throw it back at her. But I think things like that are awful. I have a lot of patience, but I understand a lot of people that spoke. I don't blame the mayor because she's dealing with most of the hands she was dealt with. You've got some corrupt people that's working in the city. I can send your letter, but I haven't written you. I'm back maybe about 7 letters because my husband was bit by a cat in property where the grass was allowed to grow 20 feet, and inspectors won't cite people. You have too many people doing people certain favorites. I know because I know who to talk to. I've seen it. So he was home in hospice, so I couldn't get to things like I wanted to. He was sent home for failure to thrive. My daughter and I, she's a chemist, we worked ourselves to death. 5 hospitals said he was going to die from this cat on his property where you allowed the grass to grow from 5 inches to 20 feet up in the trees. I reported for years since 2011, raccoons, snakes, cats, you hear them fighting at night, and 21215 West Baltimore, they would always say, we don't see anything wrong. Too many people in the city are just giving personal, they won't find certain people. Your city hall, the people that's working for this city is so corrupt, it's pathetic. So I wish you would investigate why. And look at all that money you could have. So why are they not reporting big business? So I'm blaming the city for a lot of the problems because who can I blame? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
James Morant. James Morant.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I
Again, state your name.
my name is James C. Morant. and I am a resident of the Edna Gardens area here in Baltimore. And I'm just a simple guy. I've lived here for 67 years. I'm on a fixed income. I was able to work for 40 years and was able to live and retire. I never left the city. And I understand very broad concepts, but the concept that bothers me or concerns me most of all is that we invest in what we value, and I'm not feeling like citizens of Baltimore are valued right now. I see this water bill, or the water process, which I'm absolutely opposed to. I've seen my bill go from the last increase from $117 to $277. And now we're looking at another set of increases, and the increases are, I took it from your text, the language says we're going to improve customer service, and we're going to respond to customer inquiries. Well, I don't know who wrote that part, but it doesn't seem as if you had real people in the room. I mean, real people affected by the increases that are going to take place. I look at just things that my city, who allegedly values me, I've had 3 backups in my basement. I've had friends that have had $603 water bills, and there's nobody living in the house. I've had my alley repaired when we didn't ask for the alley to be repaired. We came down to the city hall and said, the alley doesn't need to be repaired. City hall said, we're going to repair it anyway. And if you don't pay the fees that we're going to charge to repair it, we're going to put a lien on your home. I've had my hedges were 6 inches above whatever the city standard is. I don't know what that is, but I got 3 or 4 letters from the environmental department saying I had to cut 6 inches off my hedges. So I'm not feeling valued right now. And if you want to invest in the city, and if you want the city to continue to at least maintain, if not necessarily lose citizens, then value us. Consider what you're doing in terms of people on fixed incomes. Consider the fact that, as far as I'm concerned, to tell me that this is beneficial to me and not explain why it's beneficial to me tells me that you don't value me. So, recommendations. I would like this entire increase process to be either delayed until next July. Doesn't seem to me as if there's any particular reason why it should happen on October 11th, especially after you've evidently sent letters or you've already created bills. So I'd like that either delayed or canceled altogether. I'd like you to consider some alternatives. And I'd like you to get real people in the room, because if you value us, then invest in us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Branch. And then I have William Washington, Mitchell Dean, and concerned citizen from 100 North Charles Street, Lavinia Owens, and look like Marie Cantor or Carter. And I want to recognize Councilwoman Clark. I think I've seen her. Okay, Clark. All right.
I'd like to say good morning
Good morning.
to the board, Honorable Mayor, Honorable Council President, Controller, and esteemed members of the board.
State your name, Councilman.
I'm City Councilman Warren Branch. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak for the people of the 13th Councilmatic District and the concerns and issues that I heard. I'm here to ask you today if you can somehow table or delay this increase until Public Works can come up with some kind of way to do some kind of affordable increase for the people of the 13th district. Many of them have low-income people on social service, or their incomes is less than $10,000, so they don't meet the requirements of the $30,000. The hardship that they're having now, and what they share with me, is extremely hard on their incomes, because many of them can't afford now to purchase their medicines. Now they have to deal with a water increase and so many other issues. I know what many of the elected officials go through, because I know they hear the same phone calls that I hear from the constituents. Their hearts and compassions, they do have hearts and compassions, I do know. Councilman Young represented a district that bordered my district, so we shared some of the many people who go through those hardships. They all here. They all have passions. They all have compassion. If we can come up with some kind of system, all I ask is that and the people of my district ask, if you can just sit back and come up with some kind of affordable increase according to income that'll work along with the people, so they can deal with, someone who's getting $600 a month, it's hard to pay a $200 water bill and to get your medicines and everything else, and pay for their rent. The only thing I can actually say is that I understand what the city is going through with the pipe increase and stuff like that, but if we can just sit back and base it according to income instead of everybody sharing an across the board system or budget, I think it would probably work out more, and the people of the city of Baltimore would really appreciate what everybody is doing. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Come on.
Good morning. My name is William Washington. I am a resident of Dorchester, Ashburton section of the city. And what I wanted to address was basically this will be highly destructive to the city, because as things are right now, city residents, as a percentage of income, pay more of their income towards housing than anybody else. You add this in, it will no longer be economically viable for a lot of people to live here. And I only see this resulting in more tax sales. I see this resulting in a lot of people who ordinarily would consider living in the city to opting out of it. My alternative would be to perform a study, look at the possibility of maybe making this a regional water authority, let's say including Baltimore County, Hartford County, and any of the major users of our city water system, because as things are now, clearly most residents aren't able to afford it, and we need to expand a source of revenue to make sure that water and sewer can be provided in a safe and sanitary manner. And that is all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Dean?
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning. You can pull that down a little bit.
Good morning.
You know you ain't that tall.
Okay.
State your name.
My name is Mitchell Dean. I live 4718 Duncrest Avenue, which is northeast Baltimore, the Seedmont community area. I purchased my home in '99. I've been a lifelong resident here. I have a wife that works for the city. I have a son and daughter that I've raised in this city. I work real hard to get my home, and I've been fighting a lot of issues in this city for years that's been unfair to me and my family and other people like me, and everybody that spoke before me, they spoke a lot of things that I wanted to say. I didn't come prepared with a letter or anything, but currently right now, I was furloughed 2 months ago from the Norfolk Southern Railroad. I'm a welder by profession. I was laid off in 2011. I actually worked for a company called Chesapeake Machine, where the mayor and the president came there a few years ago. And unfortunately, being a welder, I'm in the manufacturing profession. When I went out looking for jobs, it's only 6 months. It might be a year. I was out of work for a year and 12 months. I applied for Norfolk Southern Railroad. I had to take several tests. I passed the test. I spent over $5,000 of my own money because I had to go to Atlanta, Georgia for 9 weeks, and I had to take a test every 2 days. And I had to pass those tests to hold on to that job. And this job was an opportunity to earn an income of $60,000 a year. So I'm doing all these things. I turn around to no fault of my own. I was furloughed in 2013. I go looking for jobs again, the same thing. I get a job, getting laid off through no fault of my own. I was called back last October. I thought I was good. Turn around. Unfortunately, the last man, I get laid off again, right now where I'm at now. And do you know, if it wasn't for me getting called back at the end of October at this particular company, when you work for the railroad, you don't get Maryland unemployment. You go through the federal government. And the way they work, you have to work all those the 6 months before. Well, long story short, I'm finding out now, after that, I was lucky that I got in, I'm only getting $57 a day right now. $57 a day for a job where I had opportunity to earn $60,000 and maybe almost $100,000 with working overtime. And now I'm looking at you all talking about this continued rate increases. I just got an increase about my auto insurance. I'm getting increases from BG&E. And even while I've been going through this the last 3 years, which a lot of people don't understand, when y'all talk about the economy too, you need to understand there's people like me, I'm 48, that's been laid off, that's hard workers. You go out here, you look for a job, you turn around, you losing your job again through no fault of your own. And I don't think you all really phantom or understand when you have savings, you invest in your home. I put a roof on my house when I got my house in '99. I did all the right things. I'm doing all the right things. But you know, the first time I was laid off, all my resources were gone. And when I tried to get help, everybody closed their door at me. I tried to go through social service to get money to help my family. My wife working, but my wife was being furloughed. So we go from having close to $50,000 to $20,000 income. I got $900 mortgage payment. I'm still getting gas. I'm still getting all these things. So you all got to understand that there's people out here right now today that's still losing their job, but all you all have your job. You have your nice income. You have your nice set up retirement plans. I have nothing now. And I mean, it's a real slap in the face. I'm just so sick and tired of people that we vote into office that really don't understand what's happening to families in this city. Don't understand it. Don't care. Don't show any compassion. I mean, I talked to representatives, even as I'm going through this, I have a water bill issue that I had from last year. For over a year and a half, we fought it. But my wife, see, they don't understand. My wife, she do her homework. Every person that she talked to, when she called down there, she kept a record of every person. Nobody wanted to believe. I had to call up Brandon Scott about this. He helped me with this. They wanted to charge me over almost $400. All my neighbors last year, everybody in my neighborhood got big water bills all of a sudden when y'all changed the rate. Everybody got a big bill. My original bill was 100, maybe 160. Then it jumped all the way up to 260. Then the next quarter it jumped up to almost $400, $500. Again, like the previous person said, I don't wash my car. I don't water my lawn. I brought toilets that flush a small amount of water, to be conservative. I'm doing all those things, but then when I call up and talk to these people, they don't know how to speak to you. They talk to you like you owe them something. They talk to you like you have no brains. They say, well, you need to go and get some Kool-Aid or put something in the water to see if your tank is leaking to see. Well, I worked in carpentry when I was in high school. I know about changing the gaskets and the seals and putting things into. I said, lady, I'm tired of that mumble jumble line that you give us every time I call. I've been told this for the last 16 years every time I call about the water bill rate, so I know better. And it was nonsense. And even to this day, the right hand don't know what the left hand don't know what the right hand. When I deal with Brandon Scott, and with the help he did, we was able to get some of the, we had the bill held. And so they sent us a letter saying, well, come down here on January the 1st or the 10th, I'm sorry. I wasn't able to go to that because I had to give enough notice. So I had to got it rescheduled. Come down there again, and I go to a hearing to discuss about the water bill. And then I'm seeing all these people standing there, which is really messed up too. Was a lot of elderly people from the Northeast area, and most of them were talking about, I'm down here for a $500, $700, $2,000, $3,000 water bill. And I'm like, what's going on? And this all in the Northeast region of the city that I'm saying. All of a sudden, I'm like, wow. And then you gotta wait in line. I had to take 2.5 hours from work. I was penalized, and so after we did all that, the guy recommended that the water bill be reduced once we explained. Well, by the time we got our letter, 30 days later, they saying, well, we can't reduce anything. You needed to do this. I said, well, we never got a letter stating that we needed to do X, Y, and Z, or we need to get a plumber. It never stated that. So we had our paperwork, and so right then and there, they held it off. And still to this day, I'm still fighting this water bill issue with this because they sent another letter saying that we still have to pay the bill. But I thought it was resolved. But again, my main thing, I'm totally against the rate increase. I need you all to really understand that there's a lot of people out here that's hurting. There's a lot of people, I don't care what the national news, anybody else saying that the economy is good, it's great. It's not. I mean, if you making an income of $50,000 or $40,000, then you get slashed in half, and then you expect that person to still pay them same bill, but you all still raising everything. Just everything keep going, but you have the money. How you expect somebody to do that? All of a sudden, you tell somebody to go and work for $10 an hour, $8 an hour. I've done that. In addition to that, while I was laid off, I didn't sit on my morals. I went on, I got my Class B CDL driver's license so I could try to get a job. And I don't even want to tell you about the discrimination that I dealt with on the job, being a black man, the intimidation. Actually, when I got to Norfolk Southern Railroad on my second day, once I got the job, you know what the first thing the one guy said to me? What your dumb ass doing coming here? That was my second day of work day that I'm trying to do. So I'm thinking there's other things that's going on with that because I'm the second African-American person that was hired at this particular location in 10 years that I was told, and I've been fighting for it. But this is crazy right now. I got to send a letter to the president, to some other people now about what the railroad board, what they're doing. How do you expect a person to live off of $57 a day? And I don't even know when I'm going to get another job. I'm out here looking for a job now. I've applied. I've been on several interviews, but I'm doing the best I can. But now if I don't get something in the next few months, I'm in trouble because in addition to when I was furloughed and because I only had 9 months with them, I only get 7 pay periods of unemployment. I don't even get the full 6 months. That's messed up. I paid my taxes. I done paid so many taxes. I'm tired of paying property taxes. I'm tired of paying payroll taxes, everything. My mother and father, my father worked at Bethlehem Steel. My father, we get a little bit of inheritance money. He been gone for 15 years now. We pay taxes on that. My father dead and gone and still paying taxes. You know, I'm just sick of it. And the people that don't live here don't have no idea. I'm tired of subsidizing the county. I'm tired of subsidizing people who with the auto insurance. That's another big issue for me that you all have no idea that y'all need to address it. I get sick and tired of people saying you got to talk to the state representative. That's nonsense. The auto rates are outrageous. The gas and electric, again on that, while I've been in this quagmire being laid off, unfortunately, BG&E sent my family and a lot of other families in the city. Now they also, which I always paid on time. We may have went past the extension, but I don't know if you all noticed, but BG&E sent the extension out to a letter out to everyone saying that you are required now. They wanted me to give them $450 for just in case. They wanted to hold on to $450 that I didn't have, so just in case I'm not able to pay that bill on January the 1st or February the 1st every time. I'm struggling to come up with the money to pay everything else, but now BG&E has that out there too. And then the lady threatened us and said, well, if you don't do it, we're going to do X, Y, and Z to you. I've been paying my bill all my life. All the time. I never had a turn off notice or had anything turned off. You know, what are you going to do for a person? I'm 48 years old. I got to figure out a way to try to come up with some type of way. That's why I took the railroad job, because it was an opportunity for me to make up for time so I can have a retirement. I have no retirement. Right now, all I have in a 401k right now from my previous jobs is $10,000. And then I got to still worry about now what the Social Security is going to happen to me. I got less than 20 years to try to come up and make up for all that time with all the hell I've been through all my life. I work hard all my life. And all I see from this city is that they never want to help the citizens. When you go to organizations or people to get help about your issues, everybody don't, you got to stand, you got to do this on your own. I can't do everything by myself. I did the right thing. I didn't do the wrong thing. I raised my son and daughter. I'm taking care of all my responsibilities. But when it's time for me to get what's owed back to me after I done paid all my taxes and all my things, I get the door slammed in my face, period. And this water thing right here, it's very hurtful. I ain't even going to explain to you what's going on with my home that I purchased, but I think I will now, because you're talking about the impervious. Every time it rains, I get flooded. I talked to your office about it 7 years ago. I talked to one of the representatives who came out there with Brandon Scott. He never came back. He never even responded to me or my wife emails when we called him about the issue where I get flooded and my whole house, my foundation is being eroded away. They tell me it's my responsibility to take care of thousands of gallons of water that runs off of my backyard, because I'm supposed to come up with some type of easement to take care of other people.
Excuse me, sir. Somebody leaning on the light switch.
This is what I deal with.
You got to turn it back on.
I want you to look at this. This is what I have to deal with when it rains. All that storm water, I'm getting it from everybody. I should not be responsible for all that water. Every time it rains, we get 1 inch of rain or 2 inches of rain, I get flooded out. And unfortunately, when I brought my house in 99, it took, I think it was up to 2004 before we started getting all the heavy rains and stuff again. So the people didn't disclose this to us. So now I've been getting flooded out. I've been fighting for this for like 7 to 10 years now. So now my house is worth nothing. My house is supposed to be worth $130,000. But now I got to go all through the hell with this to take care of this. I shouldn't even have to worry about getting this water away from my house. On top of that, which y'all got the impervious charge against people. So if I decide to put cement right there, I'm going to get jammed up on that too, including the storm water, which isn't fair. How am I supposed to come up with this one? I'm supposed to put a roof on. I want to help the economy. I need to get a new roof. I want to get new windows. I want to get new doors. I can help employ people. But why should I be responsible for paying for this too? This should not be on me and my family. In my community, this issue. I was told by city officials, we can't do that. You need to take care of it. No, it's not. This is not on me. I can take the responsibility to pay my portion. I didn't already pay, but this should not be on me to get that much water away from my home every time it rains. Thank you.
Sir, I think Mr. Tony wants to try to address some of those issues you brought up. Are you going back there to Ms. Thompson to help him? Okay, thank you.
Vivian Owens. What's your name, ma'am? No, this lady here. Okay, Miss Cantor. It's Lavidian, then you. Miss Owens first, and then you, Miss Cantor.
Good afternoon, y'all.
Good afternoon. Pull it down.
Good afternoon to everybody. My understanding is that
Your name first.
my name is Lavinia Owens, and I'm a minister too. Also, I live 3625 Forest Hill Road. My father, he's 81 years old, and he have a house. he cannot afford no more water bills or anything else because he got a roof that need to be fixed. He paying insurance for the house. He also paying taxes, and he can't use the insurance because it don't cover the foundation or whatever he need to be fixed. The roof need to be fixed. The insurance don't cover that roof. It don't cover. He's having flooding issues, and he don't drink the water. I don't cook by water. I buy water. But yet, though, his bills be still $400. And I can't understand, they cited him just a couple weeks ago for not having trash can lids. He's 81 years old, I said again. And they cited him for $3,000 for not having trash can lids. And I'm supposed to go to court the 21st of September for not having trash can lids. I also see a lot of houses, they got cars that don't even have tags on them. And yet, though, nothing's being done about that in the neighborhood that I live in, and also in the city of Baltimore. I see a lot of hot bandit cars, and I know that y'all appreciate y'all jobs because you wouldn't have went to school for it. So it tells me that you love what you're doing. So anything that you love what you're doing, I think that y'all need to come together and find out a solution how to help us. We love Baltimore. And we need to help each other love and have a working thing going on in the city of Baltimore. It's not hard to do. I mean, we all could get together and just talk about it. We not blaming on y'all. It's just that we just hurt right now on the inside about our loved ones and the neighbors that live up in the 3600 block of Forest Hill Road. And there are a lot of elderly people, and they cannot come out. Their cellars are flooded. They get mildew down in the cellar, and they don't have the insurance. The insurance won't pay for it. The home insurance don't pay for it. So thank you for listening, and I hope that y'all have a very nice day, and I hope you come up with a solution for our problems.
Thank you. Ms. Cantor. Ms. Cantor.
Good morning. My name is Marie Cantor, and I live in Northeast Baltimore, 1257 Walker Avenue. And I have spoke with many people in the water department about my water bill, and I don't seem to be coming up with anything. Number one, I haven't had a bill since April. I called to find out why, and my neighbors are the same way. They don't have a bill. I pay anywhere from $250 to $350 every 3 months. I'm a recent widow, and I'm living on a fixed income. I'm always on time with my bills, but I can't get any response. I've done everything that they have told me to do, put black coffee in the tank of the toilet, turn my water off, leave it off for an hour or two, call them, let them know what happened. They're telling me I still have a leak. I've had a plumber. That didn't help. I have no leak. So I'm still getting these high water bills. It's only me and my son living at home. I don't know what to do. I mean, I tried to get the senior citizens discount. Couldn't get it because I have a yearly income off of a small annuity. So I couldn't get it. I tried twice. I was rejected. So I need some respond from somebody because I'm getting very frustrated. And I am definitely against this water bill increase. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael. Okay. That's it. I want to thank all of the individuals who had came out to testify. At this time, I will ask the board members if they have any comments or questions. And if they don't have any comments or questions, I will entertain a motion. Madam Mayor?
I was going to ask Mr. Chow if he had any comments. If not, I have just a few.
Thank you, Mr. President, Madam Mayor. First of all, I want to say, is it on? I want to say I appreciate all the testimony from all the residents.
Give your comment.
I take it to heart many of the comments that you have expressed. And I've been taking lots of notes over here. I know certain things jumped out at me. Number of things has been mentioned. I just want to sort of recite some of the things that I wrote down. First of all, the department used 30-year bonds, 40-year bonds to help finance all this. So we do leverage the current low interest environment as best as we can and spreading out the cost over a period of time. So what we're doing is not cash financing all the infrastructure needs as you might think. Unfortunately, as Mr. Price has indicated in his testimony, that unfortunately, because the past decades of very little investments or borrowing from the bond market, there isn't any what I call money to be recycled, to be reused. So literally everything we need to do today had to be generated from today's dollar. That's one of our biggest dilemma. And yet, our infrastructure is failing. You've seen the Center Street, you've seen the Marbury. Those are unexpected, should not have happened. We as a city, we as a department, that is the responsibility that we're supposed to be having some foresight in terms of where our vulnerable assets exist, so we can take proactive steps and addressing those in the most economical fashion rather than using emergency dollars. And many of the other testimony indicated the current pay of water bills, $200, $300. Those are some of you, if you're using less than 10 units based on your meter size, that's what is called minimum charge. Whether you use a lot, up to 10 units, or use very little, you get charged for 10 units. We're doing away with that. That's part of the whole rollout of this new billing system, is so now you get charged for actual consumptions. And I'm not so sure how many of you recognize that may be something that we didn't do a very good job in broadcasting or promoting it. We do have a calculator on our website that you literally can put in your meter size, your current consumption. You could calculate what you're paying now and what would you pay later on. And I think that would be a good exercise, and we'd be certainly more than happy to help anyone that needs that help with. So I just, I have lots of notes over here. I can go on for quite some time, but I just want in closing just say, I hear you. I understand the hurt. At the same time, we're trying to do our best to reduce the increase as much as we can, and yet we're looking for ways to make our processes, our everything we do more efficient, more effective. That's what we have right now. It took us decades to get to where we are today in the deteriorated condition. We're doing everything we can to try to address them as quickly as we can. It's not easy. But I want you to know that we appreciate every word that you have said. We take it to heart. We're going to take that. I know I'm going to take all these notes back, and I'm going to be meeting with staff. And some of the suggestions indicating engaging citizens, having some citizen surveys, one-on-one and group setting and all that. I hear them loud and clear. Thank you very much.
You can go.
Okay. Hi, I oppose the rate increase, and therefore I will be voting no on the proposed water and sewer rate increase due to the uncertainties that can affect the estimates of revenues and expenses that are projected for the next 3 years, especially with the implementation of a new rate structure. I also object to the proposed multiple-year rate increase. If a rate increase is necessary, it should be analyzed and approved by the Board of Estimates on an annual basis. I agree with the Department of Audit's recommendation that the utilities should compare the actual results of its operations with projected amounts for fiscals 2017 and 18 to determine whether the rates approved by the Board of Estimates for the fiscal year 2019 should be adjusted. I'm requesting that the comparisons be reviewed by the Department of Audits and presented to the Board of Estimates no later than September the 30th, 2018, so that the citizens will know whether the proposed rate increases calculated for fiscal 2019 are accurate based on the results of the fiscal years 2017 and 18. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been in constant discussion with Mr. Child about a number of issues as it relates to the cost overruns on contracts, talking to him about whether we're getting the quality of work from some of the contractors as they are doing the consent decree. I've been talking about 2002 up until now, 2016, how much of the consent decree have been completed. We have some work orders from the consent decree that are anywhere from 300 to 700 days overdue. When are they going to be completed? Those kind of things that are troubling to me. Wondering if these contractors are actually delaying the consent decree work. Those are various things that are really troubling to me. I tried to negotiate to get the credit up to $40,000 because some of our seniors on fixed income, their pensions, like the young lady that was just before us, Ms. Cantor, with her annuity and probably with her pension, probably equals to around $38,000 to $40,000. Want to catch more of those folk in the safety net. Councilman Branch came up and spoke about some of the constituents in the district that used to be the old second district. We have seniors that are really, really hurting, and it's to no fault of their own that they have pensions that are at the $40,000 range, and with the property tax rate that they're paying, they're pitching pennies to try to survive. And, those kind of things are troubling to me. I will be voting no. I've voted no ever since they've been having these increases, even though I know that we need to get these infrastructure improvements done. I've written letters to our federal officials asking them to help poor cities like Baltimore, because these are federal unfunded mandates that are pushed down on the cities. And I do understand Mr. Child has a hard job to do trying to get this infrastructure improvement work done. But I also know that we have contractors out here that know that we need to get this work done. And I think a lot of times they're jacking up these prices. It's a game that I know that's being played by some of these contractors when they're bidding on this work. Some of them are low bidding the work and knowing that they're going to be able to come with these cost overruns, which is costing the city millions of dollars. I know with our purchasing department, with the whiteout, I could be a bidder that bidded $10.5 million. Joan could be a bidder that bidded $12.5 million. And because I whited out something, I'm kicked out. And then the highest bidder come, even though they $2 million more. Those kind of things we have to really, really look at and see how we can correct those kind of things so that we won't be just giving away $2.5 million when actually I was the low bidder. These are the kind of things that we as a city have to start looking at and stop just giving away money because of a simple whiteout as a material defect. These are the kind of things that we need to start looking at. So I will be voting no, even though I know that we have to get this work done.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. First, I want to thank all of the residents and others who have come to testify about the proposed water and wastewater rate increase. Again, thank you for coming out to express your concerns, and I understand and appreciate the concerns that have been raised. rates have gone up every year for more than a decade, to the point where sometimes it challenges the ability of many of our citizens to pay. And now we've been asked to approve even more increases for the next 3 years. It is because I know the conditions in which many of the residents in our city live, the challenges, the financial pressures that exist for many of the residents in our city, that I've been a national advocate through my leadership of the U.S. Conference of Mayors to our federal government, to the EPA, to talk about the issue of affordability. I am very keenly aware that the facts are the facts. We have aging infrastructure, and we're not alone. There are many cities across our country that are dealing with aging infrastructure to varying degrees of success. When I first became mayor, I was a part of a meeting where some mayors from smaller jurisdictions were considering giving up their incorporation because they could not keep up with the unfunded mandates from the EPA. They could not pay for the infrastructure improvements that the federal government required. So they were contemplating with their residents, as I said, giving up their incorporation and no longer being an independent city. So I get it, and that's why I've been an advocate. And because of that, Baltimore was the first city in the country that was able to work with the EPA on something called integrative planning, which is a pretty boring concept, but it did give us the ability to help control our costs and make sure that the rates that were increased weren't the amount that we had to increase the rates weren't as dramatic as they would have been had we not been a part of this program, to give the city more autonomy when deciding how we would meet the terms of the consent decree. Because, and as many of you noticed, this is a problem that none of us created. This is, the infrastructure has been languishing for decades. This is something, however, that I, as a person in leadership, I feel compelled to address. It is very important for me to not sweep tough issues under the carpet, to make sure that the issues that are the tough challenges that the city faces, that I don't kick the can down the road. And what it means is sometimes it requires these bold actions to change the water infrastructure, to put the things in place that would allow us to have
No, sir. No, sir. Go ahead, Madam Mayor. Continue, Madam Mayor.
She can't.
Continue, Madam. Sir. Go ahead.
The bold action requires sometimes that you have to make these systemic changes, and they're not easy. And I certainly am not here to say that we get it right all of the time. But the only way that we're going to have a modern system in place to help address some of these long-standing issues that we face is that we modernize our water infrastructure, that we change, that we improve the meters, that we improve the billing, and that we tackle these issues head on. So I hear you. I know that Director Chow hears you, and that we will continue to work to make sure that we get it right. And to make sure that when we don't get it right, that we address it in a way that is respectful, because it pained me to hear the residents talk about poor customer service. And that's something that I value. That's how I was raised. You treat people the way that you want to be treated. And I know that Director Chow and our finance department will be addressing that as well. So I understand, again, the concerns. That is why I've been a national advocate to address the issue of affordability when it comes to being able for cities like Baltimore and other cities to meet these unfunded mandates. But it would be irresponsible of me, understanding that we have these federal obligations, understanding that this issue has long been swept under the carpet, and the can has been kicked down the road. It would be irresponsible of me as a leader at this time to continue to kick it down the road by not making the tough decisions that are necessary to put improvements in place, and that's why I support these increases. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the proposed water and sewer rate increases and the miscellaneous fee increases as set forth on pages 1 through 8 on the agenda. However, to amend it to include the review of the Department of Audits no later than September 30th, 2018.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Please note the Council President votes no.
And the comptroller votes no.
The motion passes. There have been no more business before the board. The board will recess until bid opening at 12 noon. Thank you.
Yes.
For the delay, we had an extensive board meeting today on the water and sewer rates, which ended approximately about 10 of 12. So we'll continuing the bids, and we have a large open today, so I'm going to ask for your patience as we try and get through opening all the bids publicly for you. I have some addenda to read for today, and they are as follows. ER 4097, Watershed 263 Phase 3/4 slope at Biddison Run and Western Run, West Side 263 portion. Please change the bid due date from August 31st to September 14th, 2016. B50004604. I'm going to read that one first. Provide janitorial services for Area B. Please change the bid due date from August 31st to September 14th, 2016. B50004606. Provide janitorial services Area D. Please change the bid due date from August 31st to September 14th, 2016. B50004652. Demand response system and services. Please change the bid due date from August 31st to September 21st, 2016. Those are the addenda for today.
Hearing no objection, so ordered. Okay. Thanks.
TR17011. Resurfacing highways at various locations, Northeast Sector 1. A bid bond is required if the amount is over $100,000. P. Flanagan and Sons Incorporated with a bid bond. $2,025,961.60. Manuel Louise Construction Company, Inc., with a bid bond. $1,993,522.41. Machado Construction Company, Inc., with a bid bond. $2,131,944. Gray and Son, Inc., with a bid bond. $2,517,760. Civil Construction, LLC, with a bid bond. $2,343,900.50.
Refer these bids to the Department of Transportation for tabulation and report. Thanks.
TR 17012, resurfacing highways at various locations, Northwest Sector 2. A bid bond is required if the amount is over $100,000. Machado Construction Company, Inc., with a bid bond. $1,971,305.
P. Flanagan and Sons Incorporated with a bid bond. $1,939,966. Manuel Louise Construction Company, Inc. with a bid bond. $1,829,535.71. Gray and Son, Inc. with a bid bond. $2,563,233. Civil Construction LLC with a bid bond. $2,175,909.50.
Refer these bids to the Department of Transportation for tabulation and report.
TR 17013. Resurfacing highways at various locations, Southwest Sector 3. A bid bond is required if the amount is over $100,000. P. Flanagan and Sons Incorporated with a bid bond. $1,679,579. Manuel Louise Construction Company, Inc. with a bid bond. $1,668,371.50. $1,000,000.31. Machado Construction Company, Inc., with a bid bond. $1,834,164.
Refer these bids to the Department of Transportation for tabulation and report.
Number 5. ER 4019RR. Environmental restoration contract for East Stony Run stream restoration. A bid bond is required if the amount is over $100,000. Metra Industries with a bid bond. $1,540,298. Monumental Paving and Excavating, Inc., with a bid bond. $1,059,836.35.
Someone asked if you could read it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear him. Sure, just a second, please, sir. Give me one moment. Okay. Again, that's Monumental Paving and Excavating, Inc. $1,059,836.35. No, same here. It's the same time. Right there. Figure it out. I make a motion to refer the bid of R.E. Harrington to the Law Department for review.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The matter having been reviewed and moved and seconded is referred to Law Department for review.
Okay, wait a minute. You know what? Mr. President, I feel like checking them. See, I hit a bid to see what's going on. It has the, but it has the right, it has the right bid number. Wait a second, okay. Okay, let me scratch this. I'll find out what's going on. Ask Glenn to come see these. Yes. It is the right number. Yeah, I know, I'm going to. Yes, I am, thank you. Great, thank you. Number one? Okay, great. Yes, yes.
But the rest of it is this?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is the bid.
Yes, I made it.
To the Law Department. Okay.
It's all,
Okay, thanks.
I need to make a correction for ER 40199RR. I previously said refer the bid of R.E. Harrington to the Law Department. That is incorrect. Please refer the bid of Appalachian Stream Restoration LLC to the Law Department. Thank you.
Refer these bids to the Department of Public Works for tabulation and report.
TR 11013, cement concrete slab repairs citywide. No bids were received. Number one. Now we're back to track 6.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got it. I'll take it.
RP 15802, Latrobe Park Field House. A bid bond is required. The amount is over $100,000. JLN Construction Services LLC with a bid bond. $699,000. I think I have it here. Stapled together. I have it. Triunfo Builders, Inc. with a bid bond. Triunfo, TRIONFO, with a bid bond. $1,029,000. I'm sorry. It's one page of it. Okay, thank you. Okay. Orfanos Contractors, Inc. with a bid bond. I'll read that. $1,109,000.
Yes, Orfanos. ORFANOS.
I make a motion to refer the bid of Boulevard Contractors Corp. To the Law Department for review.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. The matter having been moved and second is referred to the Law Department for review. Refer these bids to the Department of Recreation and Parks for tabulation and report.
B50004535. Provide tree inventory services. A bid bond is not required. The Davy Tree Expert Company, $328,750. $750.
350.
Flora Teeter Landscape Architects, $827. I'm sorry, $827,500. No decimal points there. I'm looking for my period. Letke Security Contractors, Inc. and SBL, $625,000. Arbor Pro Inc., $360,000.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
B50004648. Audio video upgrades for City Hall chambers. A bid bond is not required. B22 looks like. Okay. $88,001. I'm sorry. Thank you. Forgive me, I forgot the name of the company. Contract Video Specialist Inc. $88,185.
Refer this bid to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report. Thank you.
B50004605. Janitorial services for Area C. A bid bond is not required. Broadway Services Inc. $2,004,552.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I may need to reread this. Forgive me. I guess I should probably read this one here. All right, I'm sorry. I need to reread that. That's Broadway Services Inc. $2,028,420. I apologize. Noun, N-O-W, LLC. $1,669,594. Associated Building Maintenance Company, Inc., $3,042,420.64. What number is that? CJ Maintenance, Inc., I'm going to provide the monthly total here for CJ Maintenance. And the monthly total is $63,341.25 per month, including gunpowder. Yes. 'Cause the other ones are same thing, it didn't include that gunpowder. Multicorp, Inc., $4,191,012. Clean Keepers, LLC, $1,489,325.40. B&B Diversified Services, LLC, $4,011,948. Would you please cut off your cell phones? ASB, $1,383,300. Dazer Ball, doing business as Janny King of Baltimore, $244,952. J&H Maintenance Services Corp. $1,412,460.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
Okay, great. Just so I know. Back on track. That's you. Isn't that 11? Okay, great. Okay. Nope, no problem. Okay. Yes. This is going to be number 11. Number 11. B50004677. Head in and play out service installation. A bid bond is not required. Contract Video Specialist Inc. $54,324.
Refer this bid to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
Number 12. B50004682. Furnish and deliver various soil and sand products. A bid bond is not required. Patuxent Materials, Inc. A and B. Let me see. This is an item bid. Prices will not be read.
Refer this bid to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
It's 13. B50004699. Water meter expansion connectors. A bid bond is not required. Ferguson Waterworks, $126,000. This bid, yeah, I'm gonna say that you could do it, it's based on a discount, so someone can give them the discount, $2 amounts. The other person gave the discount, and then this one just did the other. Let's see if they have any other prices. No. I guess just one item. Check, let me see. Determine what the ones are. The other ones give you the. Do this one. Probably for that one in law. Okay. I'll hold it. And come back to that one. HD Supply Waterworks Limited, $92,000. Bel Air Road Supply Company, Inc., $130,000. I make a motion to refer the bid of LB Water Service, Inc. to the Law Department for review.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. None opposed. The matter having been properly moved and second, it's referred to the Law Department for review. Refer these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
B50004706. Lobby trash cans for the Baltimore Convention Center. A bid bond is not required. Acme Paper and Supply Company, $50,660. Max Aura, $51,141.50.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
B50004707. Reflective sign sheeting. A bid bond is not required. Nippon Carbide Industries, USA, Inc. $53,368.75. Osborne Associates, Inc. $247,431. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. Thank you. Again, that was Osborne, right? Okay. Osborne Associates, $247,431. That's theirs too. Thank you. Garden State Highway Products, Inc. $233,300. $592.75. Protection Services Inc. $266,264.33. Excuse me. Avery Dennison Corporation Reflective Solutions, $140,762.50.
Sorry.
3M Company, $147,633.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
This is it.
I've got two more. Yeah, I've got 7 and 8. Did we do 7? Okay. Okay, my fault.
No problem. We don't want another one.
No, we don't.
Don't ask me to call it back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
B5 000 4603. Janitorial services for Area A. A bid bond is not required. B&B Diversified Services, LLC. $2,920,824. Noun LLC, $1,600,000 $681,551. CMS LLC, $2,075,148. CMS LLC. Excuse me. Multicorp Inc., $2,592,540. J&H Maintenance Services Corp., $1,666,440. Broadway Services Inc., $1,750,752. Prime Star Industries Inc., $5,313,289.21. CJ Maintenance Inc., this amount will be read per month, $74,894.04 per month. Dazer Ball, doing business as Janny King of Baltimore, $1,500,625.80. Clean Keepers LLC, $1,627,776. Running Things Cleaning Services Inc., $1,508,400. Affordable Carpet Cleaning Corp. $1,655,100. Baltimore Janitorial Services, $1,515,600. Just Business LLC, $1,818,000. Excuse me. P numeral 2 Cleaning Services LLC, $1,586,000. I'm sorry, $1,586,052. Thank you. Thank you. Brookway LLC, $1,873,332. Sorry. Merit Building Contracting Services, $1,703,808. Associated Building Maintenance Company, Inc. $2,402,499.24. ASB. ASB, $997,200. Yes, that's ASB, $997,200.
Referred these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
There being no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you for your patience today.